Welcome everybody to our latest session of Scarlet Citadel. We had a break last week, no session, so we are now back with a week break in between sessions. So we will, as usual, do a quick recap of what occurred 2 weeks ago now, and then we will jump into our session. So team, you guys will likely recall when we picked up last week, you guys were in the process of traveling, so you had been at the city, or more or less village, that was close by the village of Red Tower. You guys had done the whole gallows encounter with the individual who indicated they were from the church, and you had unfortunately not been able to save the person who was hung for practicing dark magic. So when we picked up, that is all that had just wrapped up. You guys decided to get back into your carts and continue on your way towards Proudglaive. So you're making your way down the road, which is actually named the Spider River Way, just for a little tidbit of world knowledge there. You guys are making your way west and eventually came into another small village that you learned was called Forktown. Forktown is very small, and it's actually built right on either side of the Spider River Way, so you can think of it as the road literally bisects the village. So when you guys got to the village here and spoke with some of the locals, some of the things that were interesting, there was a small tavern. They were serving some beer and ale, but they didn't even have like a kitchen per se. They had the innkeeper's wife basically cooked stuff in her home that was close by that, could do small type of meals, that kind of thing. But you can tell this is much smaller than even the village of Red Tower, which you're used to. So while here, though, you did learn of a interesting gentleman who turned out to be sort of an alchemist. His name was Thomas Wellston, and he was known for making, what you guys learned anyway, of what was called the sooth salts. You first noticed this as some of the villagers seemed to have this reddish look on their lips. It was sort of like a stain, you could think of it as. And as you guys inquired, eventually were pointed to Thomas, you learned he was an alchemist, and he created these sooth salts and was selling them for 50 gold a pop. You also learned he is a creator of these things he calls blasting powder, and he would sell some of that also for 50 gold a pop. He explained the usage of both of them. He seemed pretty capable. I think there was sort of a mixed response from the group with him. Some folks were interested in his things. Others thought maybe he was a sideshowman or something like that, maybe a little bit of a trickster. But yeah, you guys did eventually buy some of this stuff from him. And after inspecting it, I believe Hugo was able to determine what the sooth salts were, essentially learning that the sooth salts act as like a lozenge that you think of almost like a cough drop kind of deal. And by using these, you gain advantage on all intelligence checks for 1d4 hours. However, once that effect wears off, there is a chance of suffering a level of exhaustion. So these, obviously being that boost, you could see that there's always the potential that folks could get potentially addicted to these. So you did notice that some of the people in the village had this reddish crimson stain on their mouths, and that seemed to be indicating frequent users of the stuff. But as some of you guys speculated, at 50 gold a pop, where did they get all this money? That was a question you guys then asked of the innkeeper. He explained that nearby this village was an old battlefield, and years past, the original sort of settlers of this village sort of searched that battlefield and were able to uncover various treasures, and they were able to sell those off for decent money. Some of the folks that made that decent money then moved to bigger cities or just essentially left the area, but many of their descendants still live here, or some of the original folks even still stayed here. So they actually had more money than perhaps it looked like they had. So you can think of this as a good way of hiding your success by living humbly, in a sense. So with that complete, and after having that conversation with Thomas, giving him the FYI that you guys may be back to purchase much more, and he should be prepared with more stock on you guys' way back from Proudglaive, he seemed very excited about this and said he would get to it. So you were also told then here in Forktown from the innkeeper about this group of bandits that was supposedly hanging out at the bridge that crosses over the Black River, and that they were there essentially robbing people who tried to cross the bridge and taking their stuff. The innkeeper had heard from somebody that went that way and essentially was turned back and made his way back here to the village and sort of raised the alarm about these bandits. So with you guys being prepped for this, you made your way there, and once you traveled a distance longer and found yourself in sight of the bridge itself, you guys came up with this plan to cast invisibility on a couple folks. So this was Jolly and Grask. Jolly then went to sort of this hill that was nearby the bridge itself. Grask just walked quietly behind the cart with the horses. Bassane sat in the cart, and then Hugo and Sebastian stayed a distance back. So as you guys approached, as you started crossing the bridge, you indeed were hailed by these bandits, and the bandit leader came forward, essentially demanded that you pay a tax. He indicated he was part of this beautification committee for Forktown and said, we're trying to collect money to make the bridge better, but you could tell this is pretty much BS because you obviously were already tipped off that these were bandits. So as that encounter went on, and it turned out you guys didn't really have anything in the cart that the bandits would potentially take from you, the bandit leader asked that his thugs here, his little minions, just grab Bassane and just pretty much see what he had on him, try to see if he had anything of value. And this is when the combat started. You guys realized that these bandits were far less difficult to face than some of the opponents that you've tested your mettle at over and over in the Scarlet Citadel, particularly Grask chopping through some of these bandits with ease. And you guys eventually did defeat all of these bandits. In fact, the last one had fled down to the water, got into a canoe, and started paddling his way away, but Bassane was flying, was easily able to catch up to him, hit him with a spell, which caused him to fall overboard, and with the armor he's wearing, very quickly drowned and would be dead at that point. So this is where we left off with you guys on the bridge here with the bodies of the bandits nearby. That's our quick recap. Is there anything anybody'd like to add that I missed?
That was so long ago, it was hard to remember.
I know, I'm surprised I did as well as I did. Alright, if nothing else, then we will get you guys back over to the bridge map. Alright, so this is how we left things off with you guys here on the bridge, having just defeated these bandits as mentioned, and the bandit leader out here in the water. The canoe would just be sort of floating there listlessly.
Can somebody grab this craft?
Hey, don't touch that fire. It will dissipate here soon.
Don't let the canoe get away. It looks good.
Oh, I have just a few more minutes here. And Adam, I'll fly over and then I'll paddle the boat over to like this shore here.
Alright, so yes, you land in it as it's kind of slowly drifting away from you, and yes, you're easily able to paddle it over to the side then.
Jolly eagerly inspects it and is pretty excited about the watercraft, but you may notice that she sort of avoids getting wet.
Alright, fair enough. So Bassane and Jolly, go ahead and both give me blind checks here. So Bassane, as you get into the watercraft and then start piloting it over here to the shore, your foot kind of kicks on something as you're just drifting around, and as you look back, as you're still sort of rowing it to the shore, you notice built under one of the seats in this canoe here, canoe is probably designed to hold maybe 4 people if they're pretty tightly packed, but you notice that underneath one of the benches that serves as a seat, there's actually a lockbox that has been fastened to the canoe itself. So it wiggles very slightly, but it seems fairly secure. It's sort of built in and acting as a storage area here.
Jolly, underneath the seat there, you should see like a lockbox. That's probably where they've been taking these people's money and storing it for safety.
Jolly's gonna attempt to pop it open.
Yeah, and surprisingly, it's not even locked here, Jolly. So as you get down and just look at it, you have to wiggle it a bit. Kind of, it's a little bit stuck in there, so you have to keep wiggling it, and eventually you pop it out from where it's kind of fastened there in the canoe. And then popping it open, you notice, while it is fairly small, the first thing you see is this wadded up chunk of cloth. Looks like it's been folded many, many, many times and then just wedged here. It kind of spills out the sides even still. And on top of it, you can see a collection of a bunch of different coins.
We got some loot. I'm gonna take everything out. If it's not too much to carry.
All right, you take it all out, and I will post here in Roll20 what you find coin-wise.
I'll update the treasure distribution for everybody.
Woohoo!
And then this cloth, as you sort of pull all the coins out and then pull this cloth out, you realize it's some type of attire as you unfold it all and realize that it is a cape with a hood.
Oh, you should give that to Hugo. I bet you he'll be able to figure it out, whatever it is.
Jolly first, kind of drapes it around and sees
It's
how it
nice.
looks on herself before she takes it over to Hugo.
I think the best way to do any of this is whoever it works best for, they should keep it. So, Jolly, it does look nice. Yeah, I'll split the coins up for us, and maybe Grask, do you want to see if these guys have anything on them?
In a minute. I want to check under the bridge here. I saw when the other guy ran away, he did a turnaround and run under the bridge to find the canoe. Is there anything else under here?
As you take a quick look underneath the bridge, you can definitely see signs of habitation. As you remember, when you guys first got here, you didn't see that they were here, so you just kind of started going over the bridge. It looks like on either side of the bridge, even where you're at here, sort of looking over the other side, there are small camps with small burned out fires down below. And it looks like this is where they were essentially waiting for any kind of travelers to pass. Your assumption, based on what you've seen and what you've heard from your companions, is the gentleman sort of ran down here, grabbed the lockbox, put it in the canoe, and then tried to get away, obviously unsuccessfully. So you don't notice anything else here other than sort of some odds and ends, like maybe half of a cooked fish, some burnt wood, some turned over stumps that look like they're made for seating, but nothing that looks to be of value.
Gotcha. And then I'll start checking the bandit bodies over here.
Sure, yeah. So as far as gear on them, they certainly have that, but surprisingly, as you're looking for any kind of coin, they don't have any coin in their pouches. As you're going through each one individually, no coin, no coin, you're getting the impression that, again, this was probably a very strict leader that required all the coin they took to be stored in the box and likely would pay them out at some future time.
Can I
Interested in mundane gear, though? There's quite a few sets here of leather armor, scimitars, light crossbows, a whole bunch of bolts. And then the boss man had also a scimitar, a dagger, and studded leather armor.
Can Jolly lift the canoe herself?
To pull it on shore? Absolutely, yes.
What about to pick it up and move it?
With a significant amount of effort, I would say. It's fairly heavy. Think of it as being maybe, 70 pounds, something like that. So it's a pretty heavy watercraft. Again, designed to hold 4 different individuals. So if you were to pull it over your head, yeah, you could do it, but obviously it's not easy to do so.
If she can manage it, she'd like to try to lift the canoe and carry it over to the cart and put it all in the cart.
Yeah, she can manage that with enough time, sure. And I'm assuming that this hellfire would have since subsided, right, Basine?
Yeah, it was only like 4 turns, so after like 40 seconds, it would have gone away.
Okay, that is gone then. So yes, Jolly, you are able to manage to get the canoe over to the cart.
And you guys will see Bassane kind of takes his hand off of his staff there, and he reaches up towards that little burnt, charred doll that is like hanging from it, and he rubs his fingers against it, and they get a little blacker with the char. And then he's going to rub that charred blackness on his fingers over his wounds, and he's going to cast Healing Hands on himself. I don't see it built in, Adam, but I'm going to deduct it and then do 3d4s.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. That's all right. Hey, Grask, I've got armor and weaponry. Do we want to keep it and throw their bodies maybe over into the water, or what should we do?
Sounds good.
They'll
Did
start
anyone
gathering up the
check
gear.
under the bridge? We did.
Yeah, Grask went under there. But, hey, Hugo, look, Jolly broke into this lockbox that they had, and we got some money. Here's your stack. Here's some platinum, some gold, some silver, and also this cloak here. I know you've got your magical eyes and whatnot.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we should check it out, see what it is, see if we can use it, and if not, we're going to a great place to sell it.
Well, I can only tell if it's magic. I can't tell if it's what it does exactly.
I see. It's still beneficial, though.
Yeah. Well, let me do my thing. And Hugo will start ritually casting Detect Magic.
Alrighty, so that ritual will take 10 minutes or so. During that time, I imagine you guys are just getting ready to continue forward with the cart on the path. Is it safe to say you guys are going to move the bodies off of the bridge to give yourself easy access with the cart to continue west?
Oh, yep, I was just typing that, but Basan will walk over and begin to help Grass, like, unfasten their leathers and take their scimitars and things like that.
Okay, so I will just start moving the bodies off to the side. And is that your intent, to sort of just leave them here, out in the open, just off the bridge?
No, into the water.
You're throwing the bodies into the river.
Do we know if there was bandits, do we know kind of what what's the etiquette around? I've killed some bandits, and I want people to know that the place is safe now. Do you get rid of the bodies? Do you creak them?
I don't think there really is an etiquette. It would really depend on each individual. Some people would, you could think maybe like hang a flag, like a white just cloth on a stick, and that would sort of signify that things are all clear now. You could leave the bodies here just to rot, so anybody that came by, if they knew that there were bandits here at one time, might suspect that those are the bandits that are dead. Some would actually, depending on their religious inclinations, would actually spend the time to bury all of these and say a prayer over them and hope that they make better decisions in the afterlife, that kind of thing.
Into Davy Jones' locker with you.
That, of course, is another option, yeah.
I can leave a note, Grask, if it makes you feel better. Like, this bridge is safe to cross now. We killed all the bad bandits. Or another message, suppose.
As long as people don't take me for a killer and come after me.
I will put definitely not a lizard folk who killed these people. It was other people.
Yeah, I mean, that bartender wanted us to take him out. So he'll back us up if we get into any trouble.
Yeah, it's a great point, and we did meet some of those Halen followers who are going around executing people. So I don't think we'll get in too much trouble, but maybe we shouldn't linger.
No, let's keep moving. But good job, everyone. That was that was our most successful encounter yet.
Yes, I think our plan went well. Maybe we could have handled, going invisible a little better, but it worked out.
All right, so I'm assuming the bodies have then been taken to the bridge and just sort of thrown over the side. Based on the way that the water runs here, you know that the water runs to the south. So this Black River runs out, and any of you that are somewhat familiar with geography would know that this runs down south to the Spider River, which is a significant river, and then that flows out to the Straits of Arley, which essentially is the sea or the ocean. So yeah, it's they're on their way. The detect magic ritual will complete, and sure enough, the cape is indeed magical, and as you focus on it here, Hugo, you can see that it is infused with conjuration magic.
It's a conjuration cloak.
Oh, wow. Conjuration. Maybe it produces like a cloud of smoke so you can escape fast.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, we could, go ahead, Kursk. What were you gonna say?
It didn't help them.
They weren't using it. It was in their box. Perhaps they didn't know the value of what they had.
Or it might be bad news.
It could be, but it's very well made. The colors don't suggest something evil, and I think if we were to detect any necrotic energy from it, then that might give us some worries, but conjuration is curious.
Yeah, I mean, we might want to just wait till we have a better, clearer idea what it might do, but if someone wants to risk it and put it on, be my guest.
I already tried it on. It looked good. This was good bounty.
And all your hair didn't fall out or anything like that, right? You have all your whiskers?
Most of them.
She did get stabbed, so she may have lost some whiskers in that encounter.
Man, you should see the other guys as they points to the corpses floating down the river.
Dark
Oh.
bait.
Shall we be off? We can load up this armor and these weapons into the cart here. We can sell them in town.
Yeah, we finally look like merchants now. We have stuff to sell in a empty cart.
The boat will make it harder for all of us to ride, but it's okay.
This is too good of a craft to leave behind.
We may need it.
Let's weigh the anchor and hoist the mizzen.
So as you guys decide to continue on your way, we'll move back here to the overland map as you guys have now successfully crossed the bridge. You guys have been traveling for a bit today. As you recall, you guys left from this village here, spent a little bit of time in that village. So altogether, you're, it's essentially nearing the end of the day at this point. As you cross after this battle, cross the bridge, cross the river, find yourself on the side, noticing that the light is fading fast.
Oh, well, perhaps it worked out. We can find a place to rest, lick our wounds.
Yeah, I'm down. Get some shut-eye.
Okay, so just eyeing around the side of the road here, you notice that to the west and to the north is predominantly farmlands, If you wish to look for like a farmhouse, you think you probably could find one with a bit of time of looking. If you're wanting to just essentially rough it near the side of the road, you could always do something like that as well.
What do you think, Grask? You're the best at this. I think at least. I mean, you traveled quite far.
Do any of you know the town ahead?
No, I didn't come this way. I came in from the north.
Is that a Great Bridge? Or what's the name of the town ahead? I don't really know anything besides Proudleaf.
I don't know it, but if none of us know it, then the woods are equally safe.
Well,
If we did go to a farmhouse, though, we can let the farmer know that the bandits are taken care of. They can let the rest of the town people know. But if it's not worth the risk, we can just camp out.
All right, Adam, you're going to have to remind me for the 10th time. How many miles can we travel in a day?
It is 24, so 3 miles per hour, 8 hours of traveling, so 24 miles. So based on what you guys have done so far, you're basically over that already. But I'm assuming that with the sort of rest that you had in this village, we're calling that, the end, essentially the end of your 8 hours. If you're willing to push exhaustion, obviously you could move farther. It's really the horses that are getting exhausted because you guys, for the most part, are just chilling on the cart.
Okay, we'll rest in the woods.
Okay, so this is primarily farmland here, so on this side of the river at least. So you're basically resting in like crop areas, you could think of it as.
I don't normally like to bother the local folk looking like this, but I suppose we should warn them if we're going to be camping on their property.
Okay, so we're in farmland, meaning people will be able to see us from a long way away. We can't hide under the cover of trees.
Well, it's almost night at this point, so it's, pretty dusky. You don't think anyone's going to spot you, unless they have some kind of special magical vision from very far away. As long as you got up and out early, you probably would have very little risk of being spotted. If there's farmers doing late night checks on their crops for some random reason, then they might stumble upon you.
All right. We'll talk to the farmers.
Perhaps I can talk to the farmers. Maybe me and Hugo or Sebastian.
I'll watch the cart.
People in this area seem to be a little weary of non-humans, so let's play it safe.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, so Bassane and Hugo, are you going with Bassane?
Yeah, Hugo will accompany him to whatever the closest farmhouse is to where we're actually going to camp out.
Okay, so yeah, you're seeing these wide swaths of farmland. So basically you have to walk like 100 yards or so off of the road before you notice this first farmhouse. It's a little distance away. Again, the light is fading very quickly, so as you spot it, it's kind of already hazy off in the distance, but it sticks out enough for you to spot it well enough.
There we go. See it there. I guess we just tell them we were trying to do the polite thing instead of just setting up camp in their yard, but hopefully they'll allow us to have some space in their pasture.
I'll probably throw them a few coins. That always makes them happy.
Can't hurt. And we can offer them protection, at least for the evening.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, everyone. Well, Hugo and I will go and speak to them. If you guys want to maybe wait here on the road or pull off a little bit, we can be back quickly.
Yes, start setting up. I can't see there being a problem here.
Here, Grask, I have one of those bags of blasting powder, and the three of you, none of you are quite adept at magic, but if you can light this on fire, it will explode, and that will give us a signal that you need our help, so we can come running back. That's the best I can think of, though.
All right. And I'll take it from him.
All right, and then I guess
actually have
we
one of
start
those as
heading
well.
over.
Oh, okay. Well, just take it anyways. Grask, we may need it another day, and I've still got one, so it can't hurt.
I'll take it again, I guess.
We just like go back and forth. It's like that awkward moment when you're trying to hold the door open for somebody and figure out, am I going in or out? Okay, everybody.
All right, so some of you remain here at the cart as Bassane and Hugo start walking through the rows of crops here, heading towards the farmhouse. As you get closer and closer to this, you hear the sound of music coming from nearby the farmhouse, and as you continue approaching, you can hear it sounds like a combination of drums of some kind and then a harp being played. As you're sort of getting a bit closer here, you notice that there is a gathering of maybe a dozen people or so sitting around a campfire. So you kind of like turn a corner and notice this group of strange looking individuals. You spot now past them, away from the farmhouse, the opposite direction of the way you're approaching, is a handful of horses that are currently tied off, and it looks like they're just kind of grazing on some of the grass here. Are you just sort of walking forward openly, or are you trying to approach stealthily, or how are you approaching?
Well, how do they look? I mean, do they look like well-armored adventurers, or are they like farm folks having a good time?
It looks more like travelers. Some of them do indeed have weapons on them. You can see weapons are off to the side for some of them, and there's, a kind of trying to eyeball them from the crops and so forth. I would say a couple of them look to be more like farmers.
What do you think, Hugo? I mean, can always be nice.
If they're hanging with the farmers, they're probably not gonna attack us. So I think we can just go say hello.
And I was thinking on our walk here, before you offer up any coin, we do have that cask of high-proof liquor that we've been carrying around. And now that we have other things that explode, perhaps we could share our ale with them.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, and if they want to just let us stay for free and they offer and they're happy about it, I'm not going to give them anything. But
And that's also nice. That's a good way of thinking about it.
But yeah, let's go say hello.
Okay. Perhaps we keep our hands away from our weapons for now, and let's have a plan here though, because we don't want to walk into it dumb. I've still got a little bit of juice, but I can't produce anything big. What about you?
Let me check real quick. Yeah, I can do a decent amount of stuff.
Okay, so how about you let me do the talking, and you kind of stand back behind me, and if things pop off, you blast something off, and then we take off running back through the crops. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds good. I mean, I might I can do this spell that lets me sort of teleport 30 feet away. So I'll probably do that if it starts going bad. But I'll blast a couple of them away from you first.
Yeah, that's fine. I will be able to take to the sky and fly away. I can fly over top of you through the crops or something. So we'll be okay.
All right. It's probably fine anyways. But yeah, you do the talking.
Yeah, we definitely want to be prepared though. I mean, you never know. So I'll give him kind of a nod at him, and then I'll turn towards the group and kind of walk out, with my spear staff and kind of have my hand raised, and I know they're playing music, but I'll try to get their attention, kind of waving as I'm walking.
Sure, yeah. So as you step out, really obvious from the crops and sort of wave, you notice the more armored or armed individuals kind of turn and just look at you curiously. You notice the farmer steps up. He turns out to be a fairly heavy-set gentleman with a thick black beard. And you see he points towards you as he starts walking. Let me guess. More travelers headed to Proudglaive, right?
Yes, yes. We obviously it's dark. We wanted to camp, but we didn't want to just impede on someone's land. We were coming to ask permission if it was okay if our party camped, but I didn't know you were having merriment.
Just a few others that have making their way here decided to pop on in as the night's fast approaching. But let me ask, which way did you cross the river? From the south or north of the bridge?
From the south.
Okay, that seems to be the more popular way. I hope old man Tinker didn't give you any trouble if you crossed his lands.
No, we haven't received any trouble. There was a few bandits that we were able to get away from, but nothing to worry about.
He nods. Yeah, same story. Heard it quite a bit. Hopefully, eventually the guards, the soldiers, really, the army, will get over this way and take care of them. But, yeah, unfortunately, it is what it is. Is it just the two of you?
Oh, no, the rest of our group is by our cart over by the road. But I want to be clear here. There are no more bandits. We took care of them.
Oh.
Yeah. Halen's will was delivered upon them.
You're kidding. Oh, well, that's great. And you see he turns back towards the camp where all these people are sitting around. Hey, guys, these guys took care of the bandits. And you hear a couple people, hurrah, and they start, like, clapping for you. And you see the person playing the drums kind of speeds up with a smile looking in your direction. Well, that's really great to hear. Yeah, these guys had to ford the river at the narrowest spots. A couple, these two different groups. One came from the south. One came more from the north side, so it's glad to hear those bandits aren't a problem any longer.
Yes, yeah, we had heard about them as we were passing through, so we were prepared. We have quite a skilled group on our hands, and yes, is this your farmland here, sir?
It is indeed. It is indeed. The name's Brees. You're welcome to my lands. Yeah, it's very strange, of course. The bridge crossing the river there kind of travels between the two domains. So, sometimes the leadership over there in Dwerlin wants to say, oh, it's, it should be the capital's problem. And, of course, sometimes over here in the capital, they try to say, oh, well, that's actually the Dwerlin's problem. So, good to see that somebody took care of it.
Yes, we offered them their lives if they were to get away, but they chose to attack us instead, so they lost theirs. But it's unfortunate, but we're making our way to Proudglaive, and we didn't have time to waste,
Oh, don't bother with that at all. Don't worry yourself about the loss of life when it comes to bandits. They knew the risks when they choose that life.
So, Mr. Brees, I don't want to ask if we can come and join your merriment here, but just a portion of your land for us to camp on for the evening, if that would be okay with you.
Sure. You're over by the road then? You're staying close there?
Yes, we are. I know that some people in the local area are a bit uncomfortable with lizard folk, and we have one that travels in our party. He is great size, and he can be intimidating, so that's why we left them there. We didn't want to be rude and scare anyone.
Oh, well, yeah, that's quite smart. I guess that makes sense how you guys took care of the bandits and probably hit them from the river, huh?
Yeah, he's a great fighter, and we also have a tabaxi who is with us as well. She is very agile and smart and crafty, and this is Hugo, and my name is Basan. We are gifted with magical abilities, and we have a traveling companion, I suppose you could say, Sebastian. He's a gambler, and he loves to drink. Makes a great round party, if you will.
I see. Well, that crew, especially that gambler, sounds like it's good you left him back there then. Don't want any of that kind of trouble. Gamblers, I always find they talk big and their mouths are always bigger than what they really can do and causes problems, But, I'm more than happy to allow you to be there. Just be careful, obviously, right by the road. During the day, it's no problem, but at night, if anybody comes by, then, they're probably going to spot you. just in case, sometimes the roads can be dangerous. Hasn't been a lot of traffic since those bandits, but you never know.
Well, do you mind if maybe we travel a little bit further inland in one of your pastures, maybe? Obviously, we will avoid your crops. We wouldn't want to harm them, but if that's okay with you, we could pull our cart off the road and down a road a bit and camp off to the side. That would be better for us.
Yes, yeah. If you take the road up about 100 yards or so from here, there's a little bit more of an open area. Feel free to just, stop by there. You can get off the road a few 100 yards before it turns into cropland again. So, yeah, you're welcome to use that.
Great. Well, if anything were to happen and you guys needed some help, we're close. So give some yells and some shouts, light a fire or something, and we can come and help.
Oh, I really appreciate that. I don't anticipate anything too bad going on, but that's very, very nice to hear. Thank you.
It's the least we could do. I'm sorry, Hugo.
No, I'm sure these other travelers would be able to assist you as well. Are they heading towards the tournament?
Yes, that's right. Yep, each of them wants to make their way and see what they can do as far as participating. Or I think most of them are probably just going to be watchers, to be honest. You see, he leans in. Some of them think that anybody can just show up and join one of the events. I didn't have the heart to tell them it's not going to work that way.
Yes, yeah, we understand. We were able to secure a sponsorship. If you do make your way to Proudglaive for the tournament, you may see one of us competing in one of the events. Look out for us, and wish us luck.
Well, I'll wish you luck from here. Unfortunately, crops are all I've got time for. Can't be traveling up here so long, got to make sure to provide for the family.
Well, I get that, Mr. Brees. Well, look, you get back to your evening, and we'll take your word about the clearing up ahead, and we'll be camping there for the evening. I really appreciate it.
Oh, well, it's least I can do for your trouble with the bandits. Thank you so much. And yes, enjoy, and I will wish you good luck. And you see he looks towards you now, Hugh. Go with Halen.
Yes, you as well. You seem like a kind and decent man. And Hugo will sort of go to shake his hand, but also slip him 5 gold pieces.
He seems surprised as you're going to, and then he realizes that you're trying to shake his hand, and he does that, and then he looks down at his hand, and you see his face lights up very widely. Oh, the kindness. Wow, thank you so much. It is very much appreciated. If there's anything you need while you're there, let me know. I can definitely have the missus whip up some food. If you're hungry, I'll bring you out something to drink.
That sounds good.
That would be lovely. One quick thing though, if you don't mind just keeping your ears open, if you hear any gossip about stuff that might be going on at Proudglaive, just when she comes out with the drinks, just let us know if there's anything we should watch out for. We're sort of new to this whole thing.
Oh, you mean rumors about Proudglaive itself then, or anything that's going on with the tournament?
Yeah, more so with the tournament, but yeah.
It's funny, I've had a lot of folks passing by here, and a lot of different rumors. Most of them, I gotta be honest, I don't think there's any real weight to them, right? They're all just kind of wild, crazy stories. But I have been hearing about this, some mystery participant. They said he's like dressed in armor from head to toe. You can't even make out what he looks like, and no one knows like where he came from or who he's fighting on behalf of. It's just some mystery combatant. So I don't know how much stock to put into that either, but I've heard that from a few different folks now, so it seems at least that rumor's gotten started somewhere.
That sounds scary.
Who knows? I mean, you know how the nobles and things get up to and what games they're playing and what they see as entertainment and so forth. I'll never know. Working man, don't have time for that.
Well, hopefully you can relax a little bit after all these travelers leave. But I appreciate your hospitality.
Yes, I'll have her bring out something very shortly. Yes, have yourselves a great night.
Good evening, Mr. Brees. And like I said, if you need anything, right, any danger or anything happens, I know we're not expecting it, but that's usually when the worst danger strikes. But just give a shout, a holler, light a fire. We'll be there.
And he smiles. Will do. Appreciate that.
Come along, Hugo.
All right. Hugo give like a little nod and bow to the other people around the fire if they're already paying attention at all.
And you see some of them smile and wave back to you, and you see some return nods. There's a few folks who don't seem to notice you, or if they do, they don't respond. But for the most part, it seems like a very friendly crowd, and yeah, they're kind of responding in the same way too.
Well, I will say this, Hugo. If none of them were able to take care of the bandits on their own, or didn't want to, then perhaps we have a bit more strength in them if they try anything funny.
Yeah, for sure. We can take them. I'm worried about that armored figure, though.
Yes, it does sound strange, but I don't know if that figure will be competing in our underground tournament that we will be in.
Yeah, not sure. I mean, they'd have to identify it somehow, right? For it to prove that it was a noble, if it's going to ride in a joust.
Somebody knows who it is, yes.
All right, well, let's go give the good news to the boys. And the tabaxi.
All right, so you guys make your way back from the farmlands, back over towards the cart, where you can see your companion sort of just waiting there for you to return.
Hey, everyone, good news. The farmer, his name is Mr. Brees. He said about 100 yards ahead there's a clearing on the side of the road. We can pull the cart into there, and he said it was no problem for us to stay there.
Awesome.
Well, we might want to go a little more deeper, though. Because he said it could be dangerous at night to be close to the road.
Yes, he did say that.
It's whether you want to avoid danger or want to embrace it.
Not while I sleep.
Well, he gave us a pass to move further in, if need be.
Oh, and his wife will bring out some beverages and some food as well. Very nice of them.
Wow, very hospitable.
Yeah, so if you see, like, a smiling lady that looks like a farmer, and Hugo looks directly at Grask, don't attack her.
No
Yes.
killing the wench. Got it.
All right.
And they know you're lizard folk and tabaxi, so they're not worried about it or anything, but just fair warning, there was quite a large group with them, like maybe a dozen or so individuals, a few of them traveling to Proudglaive.
You sure this isn't a trap?
It didn't feel that way, but when we told them that we took care of the bandits, they were obviously relieved.
They seem friendly.
And at least the farmer did. But the strangers who he offered his land to and fire to, we have no idea. But they seemed encouraging, did not seem disdainful. There was a few of them that were armored and weaponed, but I sincerely believe if any of them were to do anything, we have the favor of strength on our side.
Oh, and get this. There's a rumor of some Uber warrior. Dressed totally in armor. Can't even see his eyeballs. He's going to be competing in one of these tournaments. So if someone knows how to heat metal, now's the time.
I'm sure Grasskier will cleave him to the brisket.
How did he know of him?
It's the farmer. He's been hearing rumors from multiple people that this warrior is supposed to be joining the tournament. So, not sure which tournament, but we gotta keep our eyes peeled. Because that can't be good, right? Why not show at least something of yourself? Anyways, on to camp. Let's try not to crush any of these turnips.
All right, you guys continue with the cart, following the instructions that the farmer gave you, going about 100 yards or so further down the road, and sure enough, in the fading light of the day, you can see this sort of clearing that's perhaps 300-400 yards off of the road before another row of crops starts way back there. So you guys make your way back, getting a distance from the road and sort of settling in here. Now, are you guys intending to sort of sleep on the ground on bedrolls, or what is your plan here?
Yeah, I don't have any tents or anything. That's what's in the bag of holding. I don't think we have any tents or nothing.
Yeah, now that we have like a bunch of stuff in the cart, just bedrolls on the ground. But I think someone should do watches, or we should do watches.
Yep, I agree. Before we lay down and go to sleep, I will, I've got... Part of my bloodline is major healing Adam. So I can cast Cure Wounds as a 3rd level, so I'm going to do that on myself, just in case something were to pop off while we were resting.
Okay.
Because if not, I get it back anyways in the morning.
I can take the first shift.
All right, as you guys are making preparations, you notice coming through the crop area here is this woman. You can see her kind of making her way, and she's very easily to spot as she is holding a lantern, as the night is pretty much fully on you at this point. But you see her make her way out with this basket in hand, and you see she sets it on a nearby stump, and she points to her and says, this is from Breeze. He said, enjoy it. I got to get back. And you see she turns quickly, making her way back through the crops.
Thank you.
And she gives you like this friendly wave as she's moving very quickly. You can certainly call out if you wish, but you get the sense that she was trying to get out of here as quickly as she could.
Okay. I mean, I'm not gonna. That's the lady Grask, I think.
We should move now that she knows where we are.
She already knew. The farmer knew. He told us to come here.
Exactly. It's not safe now.
No, he's fine. He's fine. I gave him 5 gold.
I'll eat after you do then.
I think this is a great spot. I trust that farmer.
Yes, he seemed quite nice. I do think we should be on alert, obviously, but yes, we should be able to get some good rest here.
And Hugo intrinsically will detect if the drinks the lady brought have poison or disease in them.
All right, so you're approaching the basket and just looking at it through the advantage of your bloodline. You do not detect any poison or disease from the basket.
You will drink or eat or pull out whatever's inside and hand it out.
Sure. So yeah, as you make your way to the basket, it's a pretty large-sized basket. Has kind of this cloth thrown over the top of it. So as you pull it back, you can see it is stuffed with various different breads and cheeses, hard cheeses, some breads. You also notice there's a couple small jars of what looks to be jam, and then you can see that there are this sort of like pitcher that's like tied up with a piece of cloth, and you can hear liquid sloshing around inside of it. And as you take that off and look inside, it looks to be some kind of fruit juice, perhaps like a grape juice.
Hey, you hooked us up. You pass it around.
Hugo, you did slide that farmer 5 gold. I mean, that's probably what he makes a year or something. I mean, he sells turnips.
Yeah, but it's worth it now, isn't it? Look at all this good bread and jam.
I don't want to be forward, Hugo, but I saw you sniffing the objects. Do you have a special ability?
Yeah. I can stuff that's poisonous or has gone bad and rotten. I can smell it.
Curious. Have you always been able to do this?
No. Well, I don't know. I mean, I wasn't around too much poison back when I was way younger, but I certainly couldn't tell if someone was diseased or not.
That's interesting. I have a few innate abilities as well. One of which eagles. You've seen eagles, right? The animal, the bird.
Yeah, that big bird thing.
Yeah. Their people, the eagles, and my people, have always been great friends. They will never attack me unless they are magically controlled to do so. Just a great affinity for one another.
Oh. Where do they live? Do you have a place to visit?
It's every eagle ever. They are all attached in some way to our people. I'm not quite sure why or when it started, but my family is quite old.
Yeah. Well, maybe you can get one as a companion.
Maybe that would be cool. Or at least if we come across them, we wouldn't have to worry about them attacking us. Well, what about you, Jolly? Do you have any innate gifts that you carry?
No. I only recently learned about this whole existence of scions in this land, but it's all new to me.
Very cool, though. You'll have great dexterity. It's obvious you worked on a ship for quite some time, but what about you, Grask? Anything you've always been able to do since a whelp?
Fight.
Of course.
Could you?
Yeah, I did not always have magical abilities other than the ability to heal, and I had a heightened intelligence at a young age, and then obviously the affinity to animals, but I can conjure daylight at will. I can cure like blindness and poisoned and things like that. But nothing that attacks or anything like that. But I was on an expedition looking for this lost culture who had came before mine, and discovered this necklace here. And, well, here, let me show you. And you guys will see he kind of places it like on the earth, and he kind of stands over top of it, and he taps the top of it with his staff, and this big cloud of ash kind of fills the entire area around him, but it wraps around him like a thick snake coiling around his legs until it covers his whole body. And then you watch as the entire cloud of ashy smoke sucks into this diamond amulet that he has, and it just lays there on the ground.
Whoa.
And then he comes back and picks the amulet off the ground. Apparently, this amulet was a vessel for a fire Afriti. She's curious. She's very nice. I have no qualms with her, and she gives me my abilities to do multiple things with fire.
Do you owe her something?
No, she enjoys what I do, unlocking secrets of other cultures. she finds thrill whenever I use my fire to burn bad people. We have a great connection.
Right. So let me know if she ever asks you to burn us.
No. She never really asked me to do anything. Sometimes I will be able to see a form of her while I'm inside there, but it's not like she's making me large promises. I believe I rescued her in some way, and we share a bond.
Wait. Inside. Inside that.
Yes, inside of here, there's it's like a 20-foot room. As I have gathered things in the past, I can leave them in this extra dimensional space. It's like I can hear you. I can't see you. It's a comfortable temperature. I can rest and sleep in there. I can stay in there for maybe 4 hours, at least right now, but the more I practice and do it, the better I get with it. And she also told me that in my stronger days, when I get even more stronger, that I can bring other people inside with me.
Can you hear outside when you're in there?
I can. I've used it for subterfuge many times.
That's really cool.
Yes, I thought so as well. And then racially, I am, as I've said before, I'm not human. I look it, but I am not. I am, it's called a ASMR. My people protected the very early people back at the battles of Mount Decimar. And afterwards, in the madness that ensued, our people were trapped here. And we were some of the first humans to walk that side of the earth after the troubles of the gods. I come from a long line of them. But that's it about me, really.
Well, I'm glad we found you.
Yes, I'm excited to get back to the Citadel. You all are seasoned going down into its depths. Not many people can say that.
Well, I've only been once, I think.
Yeah, there's been a lot of death down there.
Well, let us not think about that for now. We have another adventure in front of us with this tournament. I think Grask is going to do quite well.
Yeah, he's gonna win the whole thing.
I've been thinking about your necklace.
Sure. What about it?
Would you be strong without it?
If someone took it, well, the thing is that I only need maybe an hour, and I can get a replacement. So even if they were to take it, I would only be powerless for an hour or so.
The creature inside. The thing you draw power from.
Yes.
Are you not afraid it might leave someday?
Perhaps it does. But we've been together for quite some time. I'm 75 years old now.
No, you don't look it.
Oh, thank you. I feel it in my knees more than anything. But our people live quite a long life, and my days of adventuring only have a handful. The Scarlet Citadel, and I do want to travel north.
All right. Well, I'm gonna test out this juice. Hugo uncorks the grape juice and starts drinking it.
It is quite fragrant and very sweet on the tongue.
Oh, Hugo, here. What if you take some of this ale here that we have, put it in there with the juice, and it will cut some of that sweetness. Here, I'll make one for everyone.
All right.
Why am I picturing some kind of a Knott's Berry Farm drink here with this concoction?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, not bad.
Yes. I've heard the expression, we'll put hair on your chest. I think this will do just that.
Oh, I got a few of those. They're all in weird places. Anyways, who wants first watch?
Me. Before I turn into a grog blossom, I'll take one of these watches.
Oh,
All right.
if you wake me, I'll take the second one.
I'll take the third.
And or Sebastian can take the last one.
He will give you a nod as he is sort of looking out and contemplating on the area that you're currently in. All right, so you guys settle in here as you break out your bedrolls in order to get in some rest and set up your watches. You guys are staying fairly close to the cart here after enjoying some of this bread, hard cheese, and the jam, along with this grape juice. Everything tastes quite good, like it's all freshly made. No issues with that whatsoever. As you begin sort of retiring, the night stretches on. You can certainly hear the sound of animals calling in the night. Typically, this would be like an owl on occasion. You also hear sort of the typical bugs you would hear this time of year. So it's kind of that constant creep sound, you might think of it as. Sounds really nice or creepy, depending on your outlook. But overall, it is a pleasant night. Nothing that is unexpected as you guys take your watches. Nothing strange happens all the way through the night as you wake up in the morning and see that the sun is beginning to rise.
Big yawn. All right.
All right, I assume you guys are going to essentially pack up and head on your way. Is there anything you want to do before continuing your travel?
Well, nothing for Hugo.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm good.
Not hearing anything then. I'll assume you guys continue on your way and taking the most expeditious route. I'm assuming you're, again, not intentionally trying to stop for anything, so if nothing stops you, you're just making your way through. So you guys travel for a distance here and get about a little over 3 or 4 hours of travel, pass by this ancient battlefield, and as you do so, your eyes kind of just peeled as you heard some of the story from the tavern owner back in Forktown. You look around the edges, and there are some odds and ends, almost like stones or those kind of things that seem to poke up out of the ground off the road a distance. You don't know exactly what those are. I'm assuming, again, you guys are not interested in stopping and inspecting. You're just continuing on your way, correct?
Well,
Hugo,
yeah.
do you smell anything?
Better yet, let me see if I can see anything. And he'll start trying to ritually cast Detect Magic. I might be able to find something those other diggers couldn't find.
All right, so does this mean you want to stop the cart entirely, or are you just kind of going on and then casting this and in the cart, and then just keeping this on as the cart moves on?
Well, hey, Hugo, I don't mean to interrupt you, but last night, after we talked about my gifts, I was visited, and She expressed kindness in what I said, and she gave me a new one. I have the ability to cast detect magic at will. It does not expend any of my spell powers. I can just click it on and off.
I mean, this doesn't expend my powers, but it is time consuming. It'll take me around 11 minutes or so, or 10 minutes to do it. So if you want to just do it.
Yeah, I cast it while you're speaking, and like you see my eyes start to glow, and they have this like red ring of fire that kind of wraps around my iris.
Oh, hell yeah. All right. Well, I'd say, like, do a quick sweep out there. See if you can find anything good.
Oh, okay.
So
I'll hop
I
out.
believe detect magic goes 60 feet, and this is a massive battlefield. So as you're looking out again, being that this is an ancient battlefield, it's, you know, kind of looking and trying to put two and two together of where things exactly happen. There's not much in the way of like trees or vegetation here. There might be the odd bush here or there, but for the most part, it's kind of like an open plain with a lot of dead grass, or just straight up dirt and no grass. So, you know, keeping in mind that this is probably hundreds and hundreds of yards by hundreds and hundreds of yards, are you wanting to like try to basically just randomly walk through, or give me an idea of how you're approaching this massive area?
What do you want? What do you want me to do, guys? You want me to just do like a 10-minute sweep and then come back?
Yeah, I think it's worth it. You know, we'll take a little break here. You do a quick sweep. And if you ping something, great. If you don't, you know, no harm, no foul.
Okay. I know we just woke up, but can you make me another one of those juice things with the liquor? I'll be back.
Now that's the hair of the dog.
Yeah, I mean, we're traveling. It's a nice day, and why not? It was good.
Hugo's already mixing it together. He's like, say no more, I understand. Here you go.
All right, I'll just take it in like my little tin campsite coffee cup kind of looking thing, and I'll just start walking around while I'm staring around drinking my cup, Adam.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so detect magic is 30 feet, and it is blocked by 3 feet of wood or dirt would be the important part here. Also 1 foot of stone, 1 inch of common metal. That's far less likely. But okay, so you're essentially wanting to spend about 10 minutes or so in this area looking around?
Let's say 20, and I'll do like a big U, you know what I mean? And come back around to the cart.
Okay, so again, being that this is a massive area, what I'm going to have you do is go ahead and throw me 2 blind checks for each side of the U. First the west side and then the east side. Okay, and then I'm going to ask you to roll me a d6. Okay, so as you're looking on the west side of this U, sort of moving around here, you spend about 5 minutes just kind of walking by, looking. You see again these different like lumps and things in the ground. You're occasionally walking through, and your foot and I assume you're wearing like boots of some kind, right?
Sorry, my cat unplugged my keyboard, but yes, I'm wearing boots. I didn't know she had done it.
Okay, so I would say mostly this ground feels like just typical ground for you, but occasionally your boot will like actually hit on something that feels a bit more solid. As you look down, you do not detect magic, so you just kind of keep walking. After about 5 minutes or so, you get to an area where about 2 feet down in the earth, you can detect some magic.
Oh, yeah, right here. Everyone, right here. Someone bring a shovel or something.
You found something?
There's something here. This is really good, Hugo.
Yeah, you gotta imagine there's gotta be something here.
Oh, I was talking about your drink. Your drink was really good.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know what this is. This is probably nice, though.
I'm gonna have one myself, I think. All right, we'll be right over.
Raleigh's gonna bring over her crowbar and start like hacking at the earth.
Well, hey, be gentle. I'll keep you around it so we don't.
All right, so with Bassane pointing out where this object is and Jolly using her crowbar to dig through the ground here, the ground is fairly soft, so it's not too difficult to make progress here. As you're making your way down, kind of just scooping more out here. Again, a shovel would obviously be much easier, but crowbar's making do in a somewhat efficient manner here. You dig down far enough, spending maybe 10 minutes or so to get down the 2 feet, or at least a narrow amount of the 2 feet. And then pulling the crowbar out, you kind of just use your hands to keep clearing this away. Eventually, you see some fletching, and you realize that this is an arrow.
Oh, can I get a better sense of what School of Magic now that it's like uncovered and I can see it?
It looks like evocation magic.
That's evocation. So, fire, boom, ice, cold, something along those lines.
Yeah.
Could just be remarkably strong.
Who all shoots arrows?
I can shoot arrows pretty well. I don't have a limit on the range of the weapon. I can shoot maximum range at all times.
Here, I think you should have it then.
Oh no, I tend to use magic more often though. Sebastian might be able to use it well, or Jolly.
Sebastian doesn't hit anything.
Yeah, I've seen Sebastian shoot, and I don't think we should give it to Sebastian.
I imagine Sebastian's back on the cart, just flicking his fingers, looking around in a very jolly mood here.
He's made himself 2 or 3 of those drinks so far this morning.
Yeah, I think you should have it, Bassane. You can shoot from far away with it, and who knows, it might do a lot of damage to whatever creature it hits.
Okay, I'll add it to my. I'll stick it here in my quiver. I kind of like that we don't have anyone with identify guys because it just leaves a level of mystery to it.
It's true. Now, say you just used it, would that activate it?
We're gonna bond to a bunch of cursed items.
Typically with things like arrows or weapons, if you use them after a period of time, you might understand or learn sort of the obvious effects. Like an arrow, if you shoot it and it does more damage, you might be able to tell that, but that would be easier if you had like a quiver of 20 of those arrows. Then you would learn after shooting the third or fourth or fifth one, be like, oh, okay, it's pretty obvious what this is. With a more permanent item, again, like a +1 dagger or something, after fighting with a bit, you'd be able to determine it's more effective than normal. But if it has any special abilities on it, like say a magic, command word and it does X or something like that, you're not going to learn it just by, testing out with it.
I'm sure we can pay somebody in Proudglaive to identify these objects for us.
You are quite confident of that, yes.
All right, well, keep up the good work. I'm going back to the cart, but I'm going to make a couple more of those drinks. But if you find anything else...
Well, that's what I was going to say. I'm almost done with what I was going to do. You just said a few minutes. Do you want me... I mean, I was here for 15 minutes and found something. I can try again, do a bigger loop or something. You want me to do it again?
I'm in favor of it. What say the rest of you? Are you all in a hurry to get to Proudglaive?
Nope.
How long till the tournament?
You've still got multiple days. Probably 4 days, I think, at this point.
Yeah, I was thinking 3 or 4. So, we've got a couple of days to kill. I mean, I figure we could do that in town, but we could also do that rummaging this old battlefield.
As you went.
I don't think we need days, but we can give it another loop.
Well, how about like an hour? How about I just zigzag around for an hour, and then I'll come back, and we'll figure it out.
Sounds good
Absolutely.
All right, but you'll need to fill my cup up again before I go back out there.
Yep. You get a cup every loop.
Nice. All right, that's my incentive.
It's like
We're
day
probably gonna-
drinkers with metal detectors here.
Have you seen? I know this is off topic, but have you seen those magnet fishermen?
No.
YouTube it. You'll enjoy that. We'll just leave it at that. But these guys throw
What?
these.
What fish
Big-
are they catching?
Not fish.
No, never mind. No,
items.
never mind. I realize now that they're not getting fish.
Yeah. They pull up
Adam, you're
all
gonna
sorts
edit
of
this
crap.
out, right?
It's just before break time. I could, yeah. But yeah, so it sounds like you guys want to continue just doing about another 45 minutes here or so for a total of 1 hour.
Yeah, that sounds good, Adam.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so 2 more checks, Bassane.
All right, let's do some hero points, Adam.
You could if you wanted to.
Is that this?
No,
No,
actually
it's
not
not.
this campaign. No.
Okay.
Roll a d6.
You're confusing me. I thought I had it right.
Okay, so you spend another 45 minutes or so doing that loop, and then sort of making some zigzags around, just kind of keeping your eyes focused. Again, you're definitely walking over areas that are a little bit harder than other areas, more like lumpy in the ground, but you do not detect any additional magical items during this 45 minutes.
Yeah, guys, I'm not getting anything. We might have gotten lucky with that arrow.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. All right. I'd say just come on back then.
All right. It's like I'm like 75 yards away, and I'm like waving back. Okay.
All right, so you make your way back to the cart where you can see some of the teams already half in the bag here. But I assume you guys just continue on your way to Prodglaive then?
Yep. I think so.
All right, so you guys have been traveling for about 4 hours or so. So you got about another 12 miles you can go before you're going to want to rest. So approximately there, you make your way. So traveling again a bit further. Altogether, you've traveled for about 8 hours or so this day now. Make this a little bit bigger to make it easier to grab onto. So yeah, you're traveling. Again, the horses, you would realize, are starting to get a bit tired here. You guys left fairly early in the morning, so you can think of it as being approximately 4 p.m. or so at this point.
I mean, we can push the horses and just keep going, get there.
No, we could. I mean, we could camp again.
I don't want to enter the city exhausted.
Well, we could do it with the horses though, right, Adam, where they would get exhausted.
Correct.
But we wouldn't.
So I'm assuming you guys are taking turns basically being on the cart and then walking. So it's not really 8 hours of walking for you, but it is 8 hours of walking for the horses. So you're stopping every now and again, letting them drink, eat a little bit of feed, that kind of thing. But yeah, you imagine based on the instructions you've been given, you've probably got a little over 2 more hours before you get to Prodglaive. So if you wanted to push them, obviously they'd get a little bit of exhaustion, or could, but you could get there.
Okay.
Well, hear me out here. Arriving in the evening, it can always kind of garner the wrong looks. I vote the river is not far away there. We take the horses down, have one more night of camping, then in the morning we come in fresh, relaxed, with the sunlight on our side.
All right.
Sure.
So sometimes it's more suspicious to arrive at night, though.
Well, there's a lot of people that are arriving, it seems. And I can't imagine every one of those characters are savory.
Well, let's get off the road because there's lots of people passing by.
Yes, and you've definitely seen people on occasion either walking or a horse here or there. No huge crowds at this point, but most of the traffic does seem to be heading toward Proudglaive. So it sounds like you guys want to essentially make your way off-road somewhere over like to this side and just kind of camp down by the river.
Yeah, that sounds perfect.
Okay, so once again, you're crossing some farmlands here, but it's still bright out, being that it's only like 4 p.m. or so. And as you look both directions quite a ways, as much as you can see, you don't see any farmhouses. You imagine this is probably a very large area of farm, as it's closer to Proudglaive. It might even be owned by the nobles or one of the nobles that makes Proudglaive its home. So you don't think that there's going to be a nearby farmhouse to talk to anybody. So are you guys comfortable just essentially heading down towards the river and setting up a little makeshift camp there?
Yeah, I think that's best. Not like in the middle of someone's farmland, but down by the river, out of the way.
Okay, perfect. Well, then let's go ahead and pause and take our 15-minute break here, guys, as you are camping down for the night next to the river.
Sounds good.
All right. Let's get ready for the big city.
Indeed.
Whoop, whoop.
Welcome back, folks, to the second half of our session here, and we will continue where we left off, which is group. You're currently hanging out down by the river. It's approximately 4:30 in the afternoon. The horses are appreciating this break time that you've given them from this long journey. Is there anything special you guys would like to do here other than just pass the time away and then rest? Yeah, I know. I try to say it like that too. But anything you'd like to do here rather than pass the time away and then set up some watches and try to make it to the next morning?
Finish the juice before it goes bad is about all I can think of.
Can any of you fish?
Well, glad you asked. I have fishing tackle. I'm presumably experienced since I spent time with a fisherman.
What was his name?
Let me check my backstory. It was a tiefling by the name of... Must not have made a big impression on me. Let's see here.
It didn't stick, huh?
Nice.
I thought I had named everybody, but I guess not. Oh, no, wait. Yeah, no, I didn't. So this was back in the imperial city of Anur.
And
Did I say that? Anur. And his name was Anakis. And took me under his wing. Oh, no, it was Mordai. I did name him Mordai. Sorry. Mordai took me under his wing, and I spent a lot of my formative years in the harbor area of Anur and learned how to fish before I moved on to more lucrative skills.
All right, prove it. Catch a fish.
Hugo, I don't think it could be like that easy. I imagined Hugo like brandish his arms out to the river, catch a fish. Come on, man. Yeah, I would like to eat fish. Yes.
I want fish.
Oh, come on, Grask.
I'm gonna give it a try. I don't know what populates these waters, but Jolly will attempt to fish.
Okay, so fishing is tied to your survival skill, so go ahead and give me a blind check. And this is just essentially regular fishing tackle that you're using here. Nothing special about this, right?
Yeah, it just says fishing tackle.
Okay, fair enough.
I got the canoe, if that helps.
You could certainly use it to go out a little further into the river if you'd like to do that rather than be a shore fisherman. Anybody that knows anything about fishing, generally speaking, the more impressive fish, I guess you could say, aren't usually right by the shore.
Yeah, I've been like checking out the seaworthiness of the craft on our journey, so I'll I'll definitely take it out for a spin.
And I would say you are quite confident that it is not seaworthy, but river-worthy. Yep, it's okay.
Okay, here we go. I found myself.
Okay, so you have succeeded on this check, and now what I'll ask you to do is roll me a D100.
That's how many pounds the fish is.
I know. Please let it be a fish chart.
If it is a fish chart, please share it with us, Adam. I want to see that.
Okay, so I'm taking what you rolled and I'm adding your survival check to this. Okay, so you start fishing here in the canoe. As you're more towards the middle, you have your fishing tackle off to the side. It's about 10 minutes or so goes by as you're fishing here when you finally get something on the hook. You start pulling it in. This is particularly difficult to get on the hook as it has this sort of strange sensation of it's pulling against you, and then suddenly it's not pulling against you. But then as you watch your line, you realize it's pulling from a completely different direction. You're getting almost the impression of a fish pulling away from you, and then it darts way off to one side, and then it darts way off to another side along those lines. You keep struggling to get this guy in. It is quite challenging. Go ahead and give me another blind check. You successfully manage to reel this fish in. As you're pulling it closer and closer, you realize it's fairly large, probably about 2 feet long, kind of narrow. As you're pulling it out, it resembles a salmon, but instead of being a typical salmon, this one is more purplish and has sort of like pinkish streaks throughout it. Give me another blind check. We'll see if you recognize this species of fish based on your nature information. No, you are not sure what this is, Jolly, but you have managed to land it. You get it in your canoe here, and as you take the hook out of its mouth and you're sort of holding on to it, you realize a very strange thing is as you're holding it, it's actually like phasing in and out of your hands. So like imagine you're holding it and it's almost like it's vanishing. You're having to grab it again as it's moving slowly, almost in a mini teleportation, you might think of it as.
Well, sink me. This is the strangest fish I've ever caught. Is it actually moving or just sort of fading in and out?
It is actually moving, but it seems as though it is very limited, being that it's not in the water. You get the impression now that it wasn't actually darting away from you. It was actually teleporting under the waters, but it couldn't teleport the hook out of its mouth. So essentially when it teleported off to the side, it was just pulling from a different angle, which made it really difficult to reel in, but you did indeed succeed on that. But now that you've got it out of the water, it seems as though its ability to do that is very much diminished. So it's essentially teleporting, but just a matter of like an inch here or there. So when it does it, it's like a snap, and then you're just having to like basically re-grab it.
This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen, you guys. I'm gonna leave the hook in its mouth in case I lose track of it.
Okay, so you've got tackle with your fish and tackle here. So think of this as sort of like the modern fishermen might know they use like gill chains, where you put basically a chain inside the gill, and then you can even put the fish back in the water, but it can't get away because it's caught on the gill chain. So we'll assume you've done that, and yeah, you're keeping it in the water and making sure it doesn't die on you until you're ready to kill it, if that's what your plan is. Are you then making your way back to shore to show the rest of the team?
Yeah. I want everybody else to take a look at this crazy thing.
Okay, so yeah, very similarly, that as you're getting it back, you notice the gill chain is just kind of flashing back and forth. It's like moving as you imagine this salmon is like mini teleporting, trying to get away, but obviously is unable to do so. You make your way back to the shore, and sure enough, as you get there and your team is there, you pull this salmon up. Those of you that look at it, I think it's unlikely anybody will recognize this, but if anybody is proficient in nature or for some reason has spent a significant amount of time fishing, I would allow a check here.
I've got nature.
Sure, feel free to make a check then.
Yeah. Hugo, too.
I got Arcana and religion, so I'm not too much of help here identifying the fish.
My roll 20 is so borked, I can't click on my token. Actually, the health bars and the tokens are so misaligned. I think I got it.
Ah, nice.
It came through, yeah. Okay, so Grask, you do not recognize this at all. However, Hugo, as you look at it, you recognize this is what is known as a void salmon. Void salmon are a very rare species of freshwater fish. They populate the rivers and interior lakes. They are essentially magical creatures that have the ability to teleport, which they use very successfully in hunting. So when they're hunting after fish, when a fish like darts away from them, they can essentially teleport on the other side and just open their mouth and let the little fish go right in. So very aggressive hunters here. And you would know that in addition to being very rare, this fish likely can be used in some type of magical components recipes. So think of this as far as a fisherman is concerned, this is like discovering a treasure in the water.
Does it need to be alive to be used in that way, or can it be dead fish?
Yeah, it could be dead. As long as it's not been dead for a really long time, within a couple of days, then you could turn it into the raw components needed for magical item creation or other rituals and things.
Okay, and sorry, it was called a void what again?
A void salmon.
Okay. Oh, you caught yourself a void salmon.
Never come across one of those before. What do we do with it?
You could sell it to a wizard, I think.
Eat it. What are you talking about? Let us eat it.
No,
Yeah, I'll make a fire.
It's worth a lot of money, though.
Grask looks at it as it like hops a little bit, even though she's holding it, or whatever it's teleporting. And he says, "Is that safe to eat?"
No. Don't eat it. It's worth way more. I'm telling you. People can use it in spells.
Even if you ate it, it might uneat itself.
Well, that's weird to think about. But Hugo, if you know about this fish, then you know what parts of it should be good for spell components, and then what parts should be good for eating, right? It looks good. Plus,
based on that check, I would say he doesn't know exactly which parts of the fish are valuable. He just has heard the knowledge that this fish can be used in certain magical recipes.
Well, so here in magical recipes, maybe I could make an Arcana check to see if I've ever heard of that ingredient in one of those magical recipes.
Sure, I think that's fair. Yeah, now that you have identified exactly what this is.
You want me to blind check it?
Yes. So you're not exactly sure, but based on the properties of what this fish is exhibiting, you assume it probably could be used to create anything that has to do with movement or teleportation. So, for example, if you were trying to make an item that allowed you to misty step once per day, this could probably be used as part of the component, or something like a dimension door or a teleport. You think it's probably something associated along those lines.
Look, we're not eating the fish. We're taking it into town and selling it. So, Hugo, I'm handing it over to you, and I'm going back out to get you guys some food because clearly you've got a taste for seafood.
All right. I'm sorry, little buddy. And Hugo just brains the fish with his crowbar.
Oh my goodness.
All right, it doesn't teleport anymore after that, for sure. So.
I like that. Sorry, little buddy.
It can be sold dead, don't worry.
I'm going to head right back out because I'm worried about them getting hungry and eating my windfall.
Fair enough. All right, so you make your way back out to the canoe, out to the middle of the river here to continue fishing. Anything anybody else on the team is doing during this time?
I'll start a fire, Adam. Get us a campfire going.
Okay, fair enough. All right, hearing nothing else, then Jolly, we'll go back to your fishing. Please give me another blind check. Yes, you spend another 30 minutes or so fishing this area of the river, but come up with nothing.
Shoot. I'm having a little less luck, guys. Could I try again, like from the shore, or like look for
So
any
based
sort
on
of
your background and knowing,
crustaceans?
you spent a lot of time at wharfs and stuff like that, I would say you know that when you fish an area for a while and you don't hit anything, your best bet is just to move a distance away. And you can certainly try again. It really comes down to how much time you want to spend. If you're patient, you're quite confident you will catch something, but it's just all a matter of time.
Well, we've still got jam and bread and stuff. It's no big deal.
Were we headed out? Or is this because we haven't taken our rest yet, right?
Yeah, we're gonna camp here.
Oh, so we got time. I'm gonna stay out there till it gets dark.
Okay, so it's about 5:30 now. It would get dark right about 8 o'clock, so you've got about 2.5 hours of fishing if you'd like to spend that time doing so.
Yes.
Okay, so fire is started for Bassane. If there's anything else anybody wants to do, feel free to just type in chat and we'll address that. But since I didn't hear anything specific, we'll continue on with the fishing here. So Jolly, go ahead and give me another survival check representing your next half hour of fishing. Okay, and
Can I use some luck on some of these rolls? How do I do that?
You could if you wish. Yeah, essentially what that would mean is I would take your roll at advantage and you would spend 1 luck point. So as you didn't declare it yet, and because this one was actually a good roll, don't bother. But roll me a D100.
Maybe. Could it be? Okay, hold on.
Okay, wow. You're hitting all the high numbers. All right, so you're fishing for another half hour, and with that roll plus what your check and added it again, you catch on the line again another very strange fish. So as you catch upon this fish and you start reeling it in, once again, quite challenging to get this fish in. It doesn't seem just like your common everyday fish. You're not even sure what it is quite yet, so you're going to need to make another survival check to try to get it closer to the boat. If you wish to spend a luck point on this, you could, and I would take your rolled advantage.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay, go ahead and roll a survival check. Or, I'm sorry, a blind check. Okay, thanks to your luck point spent here, you do get the fish closer to the boat. As you're looking in the water, it's still light out. You can see like an albino fish as you're pulling it in. It looks a fairly decent size, definitely bigger than the void salmon. As you're pulling it in, it's, again, pulling against you very as much as it can. It's really challenging to get it in. This will require a third check to get it in the boat. Again, if you'd like to spend another luck point, you can.
Yes, please.
Okay, go ahead and deduct another luck point and give me another blind check, and I will take this at advantage. Okay, unfortunately, even with the luck point spent here, as you're pulling the fish towards you, you notice it actually darts towards you, and you lose all the slack in your line, and the hook comes undone from its mouth, and it quickly scampers away under the waters.
Oh, you scallywag. Have I?
That was a half hour worth of effort.
Okay, cool. Gonna continue then, hoping to get some food.
Sure, and just tell me if you're spending a luck point. I know you just got the one left at this point.
Yes.
Okay, so you use your last luck point here. Okay, yes, another successful period, so roll me a D100. Okay, again, this one, as you're trying to pull it in, is it a bit challenging, so it's going to require a second check to pull in. So another blind check. And once again, as you're trying to reel this very large fish in, you're unsuccessful as it manages to get away.
On shore, they just hear a bunch of like salty language coming across the river.
Ugh. Doesn't sound like it's going too good out there. Come on in. We've got bread and cheese and jam.
I must be out of practice.
Well, I mean, you did catch a super rare fish on your first try, 10 minutes here, so don't sell yourself short.
Mordai always used to say, doesn't matter if you go hungry.
But you won't go hungry, don't worry.
Fortunately, we're not relying on just fish.
So does that mean you're making your way back to land and rejoining the group?
Yes.
Okay, so as you end that fishing session, interestingly, on this chart, you rolled the very bottom one, the third from the bottom, and the fourth from the bottom. So basically all the top ones, except second from the bottom. So
Wow, that's crazy.
it was indeed.
Dang.
Hey, but you got one of them.
I'll go ahead and post the chart I was using. I found this quickly. I was using a modified version of this, but just to give you an idea.
This is why I gave up fishing as soon as I met the shadow.
All right, so you guys enjoy your breads, cheeses. Most of this is running low at this point, as you guys have been, I imagine, nibbling on this over the past couple of days. So essentially, most of your cheese is gone, maybe just a little bit of bread and a little bit of jam left at this point. I'm sure you guys have rations as well. But is there anything else anybody would like to do before passing time to the next morning?
How do you catch 2d6 minnows with one fishing rod?
So I think the idea here is you spend 30 minutes, right? And then
that
you
makes
catch in a
sense.
30 minute, yeah. But heck, if you could catch 2d4 pike in 30 minutes and any real life like, I'd be impressed.
Oh my gosh, you'd be a champ for sure.
The only thing is Hugo is probably going to look for a way to sort of hide his face a little bit, either through like a scarf or like a piece of cloth or something like that.
He's got a new cloak.
So you're going in with the Defias bandana look?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, if there's nothing else anybody would like to do, you guys spend some time here enjoying the campfire, throwing some more wood occasionally that you have to, search a little bit to find. Again, not a lot of thick woods around this area. It's mostly farmland, so it is kind of, stretching thin on the available firewood, but you make do as best you can. As you guys post watches, whoever is the second person on watch, who typically takes second watch?
I took it last night. So no, I took 3, didn't I?
Yeah, I take 2, and then Grass takes 3.
Okay, so Bassane, during your watch then, as you're awake, you notice to the north, towards where Proudglaive is, you hear a slight blast come from that direction during the night. It's very faint, like you hear it and you have to look in that direction, like, did I hear something? And then you notice actually in the air, big sparkling blue letters spelling out tournament, and you can see magically created figures in the air. You first notice what looks to be archers kind of shooting towards a target. They are massive in the sky, probably 100 feet tall, but it's way, way up in the air. So as you watch this, you can see this is obviously some kind of a performative display that the city is putting on here in anticipation of the upcoming tournament. You'll notice this sort of archer and shoots, and you see like blue sparkling lights fly off of where the arrow would be, kind of flies off into the darkness. Then you see that fades away. You see almost like a firework that goes up from down below, and as that explodes out, now you notice more like melee type figures up in the air as they're striking at against each other. You notice one of them kind of falls down, and then that fades away. Then a third one goes up, and then you see actually these figures represent jousters sort of riding against one another, and as they smash in, all of that sort of fades away, and you can just see all these different figures popping up as fireworks go up over and over and over. As you're watching these and just kind of impressed with this display, you notice there are specific figures now near the end that are showing, and you can actually see house names ahead of some of them, essentially signifying nobles participating in the upcoming tournament. And then you notice as the fourth one passes by, you see there is no name. It just shows like question marks where the house name would be, and you see a figure, as best you can tell from this sort of artwork, magical artwork, is depicted a fully armored figure with no identifying marks that stands here. And this memory of what you heard and what Hugo mentioned comes back to you that you heard from the farmer. This is likely this mysterious competitor that you've heard about. And with that finally fades away, you see it says in big bright letters, 2 days, 2 days, 2 days, and then it kind of all fades away and all is quiet once again.
Well, that was something. And I'm going to take my ink and parchment at him and just try to write down all of the house names that I saw in the order that they came.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I would think you were probably so shocked by this at first, but give me a blind check to see how much of these you can recall now that you're done with the sort of fascination of seeing these in the air. Yeah, so based on that check, I think the only name you probably recognize up there is Darrenwell. That's the one that you started saw and it stuck in your head, and all the rest of them you were kind of just so shocked by the time this happened. So essentially by the time you start thinking like, hey, I should remember these, Darrenwell's like the last one that pops up, and you managed to write that one down.
Got it. But I'll make it in the morning sound like I did way better than forget the other 4.
Fair enough. All right, the rest of the night is uneventful as you guys sleep through the night and wake up with your long rest complete and find that the sun is rising.
Well, during my watch last night, there was this crazy fire display. I don't know how to put it, but they showed off all of the house names of the people who are competing, and Hugo, the last one they showed was that clad armor knight with a big question mark. It's like they are hyping him up. Whoever this mystery character is, I think they might have a trick up their sleeve.
Yeah, the big reveal probably when he takes off his helmet and he's like the prince or something like that.
Oh my gosh, that sounds very tacky. Do you really think they would do something like that?
I don't put anything past these nobles. No offense, but they love the spectacle.
The prince, is he that strong?
I don't even know who the prince is. I'll be honest with you, but it's just like something they would do. You know what I mean?
Oh, what if it was the Baroness herself? That'd be crazy.
Oh yeah.
So again, just a little bit of world knowledge here. The Baroness obviously rules this domain, so the closest prince that you guys would know of is Prince Darian Avon from the Avenel family. He comes from he rules obviously his own domain. So popping back to our world map here just momentarily for a little bit of world lore to put this in context. So obviously you guys are just outside of Prideglaive at this point in time. Again, this whole domain is ruled... Whoop, you guys can't see that. So you guys are just outside of Proudglaive at this point. This whole domain of Rosone is ruled by the Baroness. As I mentioned, the closest prince is actually from Avenel. And that's sort of like an unofficial title. He still calls himself prince, but there is no the prince generally would imply that there's a kingdom, and then the prince would be the son of the king or the queen. After the stuff that occurred in history here, essentially the fracturing of the Anwirian Empire, most of the noble titles are sort of hereditary, and they've been passed down, but they don't necessarily hold the same significance. So, for example, somebody that calls themselves a duke, you might think, oh, that's somebody that's really powerful, but it could be just because their ancestor was a duke, and they might actually rule a much smaller domain, but they've kept that title. So titles can be a little bit misleading, but as an example, this province here, or this domain, Erinway, is actually ruled by a queen, but you notice that this is a fairly small domain. And then Avenel, which is one of the strongest domains in all of Anweir, which is ruled by Prince Darian Avon, he makes his seat in Dalton there. So when we say, could it possibly be a prince? Maybe, but generally rulers wouldn't cross this many domains to participate in something like that. But hey, anything's possible.
Quick question.
Sure.
What's that?
I've got to zoom out. Oh, that is just artwork indicating how dangerous the waters are, because sea creatures can be there.
That thing means danger to you?
It's kind of a goofy big fish, really, right?
Like an armadillo turtle.
Like it wants something.
Maybe it wants to devour all of the domain.
It's going for that little island. So, what's up?
Where is what are they called? Kasani? Is that what they're called, or
Kanasi?
Kanasi? Where is that region?
So the Kanasi come from the Cities of the Sun, which is this whole area over here. So the old province or the old empire of Anweir is thought to basically stop right along this border. So basically everything east of there. Bassane would come from the Kanasi lands, which is, again, in this general area. It kind of goes a little bit more north of that, generally speaking, in the Cities of the Sun area.
It's a big map.
It is a huge, huge world, yes.
So this map, are the creases in it intentional, or is this scanned from like a really old foldout someone had?
That is exactly right.
That it's intentional, or that it's an old foldout?
It's an old foldout. So I actually have this physical copy in my version, but this is one I just found online.
Let's talk about Leviathan's reach up here. Let's whenever we finish Scarlet Citadel, let's go explore that.
So what I will say is this world is very colorful, and it was the most highly detailed of it, of course, is Anweir. This is where most campaigns take place. Cities of the Sun was an expansion to the campaign, so they started detailing this area here. There was also an expansion for the Reuric lands, which is all of these up here. I don't think they ever got into too much detail of what is considered the Voss lands over in this area. So some of these areas are meant to be like really high level detail. They just kind of have boilerplate, like this area is known for this, without a ton of detail associated with them. But of course they indicate, hey, this is your opportunity as a DM to paint in between the lines and decide what you like. But there's a lot of interesting parts of this world, particularly like if you notice down here, Duria, during the flight from the shadow, which is what a lot of this campaign world is based on, when the old deities were killed. This is where humans originally came from. They actually came across a land bridge that connected between these two places. And then when the Battle of Mount Dazimar occurred, there was the mountain, Mount Dazimar, actually was destroyed, and it destroyed the land bridge here. So that's why this is actually separated now. But this is kind of like where humans came from. So there's a ton of lore to this world, but I won't bore you guys too much with that. But some of it's kind of fun to know, just to kind of put your characters into context of where they're coming from.
This world seems awesome.
It does seem really cool.
Yeah, like I said, there's a ton to it.
Can I ask for one more display of a place? Can you show us where Mount Decimar is? Because that's like...
So Mount Decimar is not on this map because Mount Decimar was actually right in this region. And when the Battle of Mount Dazimar happened and the deities were killed, Mount Dazimar was destroyed, and it actually destroyed the land bridge that connected these two lands. So before humans actually just basically walked across and then started settling this land, it used to all be owned by elves. and dwarves, of course. So this is where humans kind of first entered. And when the battle occurred and Mount Daysmar was destroyed, that's what destroyed the land bridge that connected these two.
Got it. And that makes sense where so many people died during that because they literally fell into the sea.
Yes, yep. It was a huge, huge amount of destruction. And yeah, it pretty much just wiped it right off the map in essence. But yes, the people that survived obviously were the lucky ones. All right, so with that little history segue out of the way, we'll pop back over to our domain map and get back to where we left off. So, guys, it's early morning. You have plenty of time to get to Proudglaive if that's what you'd like to do.
All right, so when we hit Proudglaive, we headed into that inn to meet with that guy, right?
Oh, yes, we have to go to that tavern. Here, I have it written down here. Let me find.
All right, so as you start referencing those notes, I will assume you guys basically pack up the cart, get the horses ready, get everything prepared, and make your way towards Proudglaive. So you guys spend the next 2 hours or so, maybe closer to 3 hours, and eventually arrive at the outskirts of Proudglaive proper.
I can't find the notebook that I have those notes. It's probably in one of the boxes I still have to unpack. But it's like the yellow snapdragon or something along those lines.
Yeah, it's the yellow dragon.
There it is.
That is correct. Yes, you are to meet Rex at the Yellow Dragon. All right, so as you guys get to the outskirts of Proudglaive, you notice that this is a much larger city than, for example, any of the villages that you've passed through recently. Those of you that have already been here, obviously this looks very familiar to you, but just much, much more massive in scope and size than anything that you've seen recently. There are people of all different walks of life. However, primarily, I would say good 80% of them are human. So you notice the vast majority are Anwirians. You do see some of the other nationalities represented here. Occasionally you might notice like a Kanasi individual. You might notice a Ryuric individual, but the vast majority are Anwirian. As far as more, say, demi-humans, you might occasionally see a dwarf here or there. You see almost no elves. Occasionally you might think you see an elf and then look more carefully and realize it's actually a half-elf. So there's no real elves that you've spotted so far. If they are, they must be really rare. More what I will call less common of the non-human species are almost completely absent from here. You might on rare occasion spot somebody of that kind of a heritage, but it's very, very rare.
All right, play it cool, you two. Stick out a little bit here.
Them two? Aren't you like wanted or something?
No, I don't really know, but I don't stick out as much as they do.
No, but that's risky not knowing, but I like it. Should make for a fun adventure. Well, before we go to that, whatever it's called, the Yellow Dragon, should we maybe go sell this fish? I'm assuming we go by the harbor maybe or something like that before it gets too stinky and unusable.
We had other things to sell as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's ask
Maybe-
directions to the magic shop, because that's who would buy it and who can identify our stuff and all sorts of stuff.
That's what I was going to say.
Are there like signs, Adam? Do we see anything for like marketplace or anything like that?
There's shops everywhere here. So basically all it takes is time. So give me an idea of what you're doing with your cart and horses. Are you trying to find like a stables, for example, and just have them sort of hold up there?
Guess that's probably the best thing to do to start, because I mean, does it seem like carts and horses travel on the road, or is it
There are
not
some.
common?
I mean, there certainly are some, but it looks mostly like people going. You imagine people coming into the city and people exiting the city. There's not a ton of intercity moving about of carts, but probably still some.
Well, maybe we move a bit closer to the market and stable the horses and take the things we have and sell them. And we've got 6 sets of armor here. Which, but by the way, does anybody want this studded leather armor? It's nice.
No, I'm all set.
Is that better than just regular leather armor?
Yes.
I'll take it.
1 second here. Studded leather armor is 12 plus your dexterity modifier instead of 11.
I'll take it.
Should make you a little bit more agile, easier to move. Here, take it.
Thank you.
All right, so you guys move about the city as best you can. It is very cramped, so you're having to move quite slowly here. Think of this as almost like there's a lane for carts, and they come by fairly regularly, but as I mentioned, most are exiting or just entering from one of the gates. So as you're making your way through here and just trying to find some type of stables or somewhere of the shops, you eventually find your way to what looks to be one of the primary squares here in Proudglaive. And Hugo, you'd be familiar with this. You can think of this as the central hub that everything really connects to. So most of the oldest shops that have been in Proudglaive for a long time are here. There is a fairly famous inn here also. Notice the cracked mug. And think of this as being on the east side of this map. So over in this general vicinity. And then there's just a row of various shops that participate in all different kinds of commerce. You are noticing signs. You notice signs for smiths. You notice signs for general inventory. You notice some far more strange signs. You notice one that says investigators, and it seems to be some type of shop. You notice another one that has a large sign that says Farada's Menagerie. You can see that there is a pottery store. I mean, almost anything you can think of as you're moving through here, you're just blown away by how many different types of shops there are.
Take it in, everybody. This is where all the business takes place.
Yeah, it almost compares to Enwyr's marketplace.
This is probably the 4th largest market I've seen. It's quite nice.
All right, all right.
You see Grask often like looking up a lot more. Like he's straining his neck to look up. I don't like how tall everything is.
That's just a sign of progress, Grask. The taller the buildings, the more progressed.
Or attackers from above.
Nah. No one's gonna attack you from up there, Grask. Don't worry about it. You should be looking at your pockets. Make sure no one's taking anything from them. Anyways, they got whatever you need here. You want to sell that rest of that armor?
I have it in the bag here. Yeah, we can sell the armor and check out that arrow, and we see if we can get that cloak identified.
You think anyone would buy my old leather armor?
Well, we'll put it in the pile here, and we'll have 7 sets of leather armor to sell.
Adam, is the menagerie, do I know that that's like a magic shop, or do I know what kind of store it is?
So remind me, how much time did Hugo spend here? How familiar do you think he would be with like the various shops?
I think the backstory is he pretty much grew up here, so he spent a decent amount of time in Proudglaive.
So Farada's Menagerie is fairly familiar. Most people can't afford, but it's essentially a collection of animals. Farada is the shopkeep, and she trains exotic animals to serve as beasts of burden or as fighting companions, and she sells them to nobles, to adventurers, and they, through a combination of training and instruction, they can be used to great effect.
But son, he sort of elbows him. You might be able to get your eagle from there. She sells all sorts of animals and whatnot.
Oh, like a pet. Oh goodness, I'm not very good with pets. I've killed every goldfish I've ever had, but that may have been the fire.
If you kill 10 pets, you buy an 11th, but son. That's what I've learned.
That is a great Hugoism, if you will. I'll write that one down. I have no affinity to buy an eagle, as cool as that sounds, but if we are going to dive into the Citadel, then I suppose we won't have wide open spaces for it.
Alright.
What's the point of these pets?
Oh, they fight with you. You can train them to fight with you.
I wish to see them then.
I mean-
Alright, Grask, right this way.
I want to like slow back and like look over at Sebastian and say, can you imagine if Grask rode into battle on like the back of a bear or something?
You see, he looks towards you and says, "Is this going to be quite sight to see? I don't imagine. I would not want to fight such a thing."
No, and then imagine that sight, but he wields a lance and he jousts these puny knights around here on his warbear. That would be magnificent.
Yes, this would be something for the stories.
And I suppose like we would just chat back and forth while we're walking behind him about Grask riding a bear. How much do you weigh, Grask?
Oh, let me check the sheet. I think we wrote this down after last time. We did not. Oh wait, we did. 260.
Oh, that's not bad. I imagine a fully armored knight probably weighs somewhere around that. Right? Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, so you're wanting to, Grask, you're wanting to go into the menagerie?
Yeah. Show me the manimals.
All right, who is going into the menagerie with Grask?
Is there anything close by, Adam? Is there like maybe a place where I can go and sell this armor or anything like that so we can kind of do two things at once?
There is everything close by, unless you're wishing to do something special. I would say the best you're going to get for the bandits equipment, because it wasn't in best condition, would be 1/4 the PHB value.
Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll go and sell off that armor and the weapons that we have, the scimitars and daggers, and then the armor as well.
Okay, feel free to do that. So yes, so Grask is heading into the menagerie. Is anyone going with him?
Yeah, Hugo will go with him.
Jolly is curious to watch as well.
Okay, so the three of you make your way into the menagerie. So think of this as almost like an open air market. So it's sort of like there's an area where there's shop, and then suddenly there's an opening. And when you step into that opening, think of this as really large stalls. So at the front, these stalls are sized for like horses, but probably twice the size of a typical horse stall. Near the back, you see ones that are even larger than that. As you pass in, you get this right away strong scent of animal. Some of it smells almost like stale. Some of it smells almost very earthy or plant-like. And as you pass in, you can see all varieties of feed is around here. There's also obviously the scent of like dung that is clinging to this area pretty strongly. So you notice as you pass in that there are various people kind of walking by. Some of them even have little kids with them and have their kids like up on their shoulders, and they're pointing at these various different animals. You notice there is this very prominent looking woman who's dressed in this long flowing gown. It looks like it is almost like too formal for this area. You imagine it would get messy really easily just working in this kind of environment, but it looks to be very spotless. She has this sort of long dark hair into a braid that is at the side of her face here, kind of trailing down to right about chest level. And it is very much knotted. You can see there's sort of this thread or maybe silk that is sort of tied in between those, giving it a really fancy type of look. As she notices you and kind of looks, realizing you assume that you're not just families here for the shock value of these animals, you'll notice she kind of cuts you off before you make it very far in, and she opens her face with this kind of a wide smile. Welcome to my menagerie. Are you looking to buy?
I wish to see your strongest creature.
I see. Well, strongest is, of course, a subjective term. My beasts are capable of great feats. Do you mean truly just raw strength?
If they were all to fight, which would win?
And you notice she sort of smiles slightly. You would be surprised how often I get this question. I've even been offered large sums of coin to have just those battles, but I'm not interested in such things. And you see she turns and looks towards the stalls, and these are kind of covered stalls, so you can't see the animals from where you're standing at the moment. You'd have to get like on particularly one side to be able to see inside of them. But you notice she sort of looks and then snaps her fingers and she points towards the back. If I had to say, with what is currently in stock, I would place my money on the Bilu.
May I see it?
Yes, you may. Please come with me.
Not follow.
All right, and as she's sort of walking down this way, you're basically passing all the stalls because this Bilu that she's referred to is near the very back. So the first stall that you pass by and just, kind of glancing in that direction, you notice a giant boar that is sitting here eating like at some truffles on the ground and snorting and hoofing, and as you walk by you can just see it just drop some like a log of dump right at that time, really giving you that scent of strong dung right fresh in the air. As you pass by a bit further, you notice a big lump of fur near the back. And you can see this very large-sized bear. It's currently just kind of laying with its belly on the ground and its head resting on its paws. And you can see it just kind of breathing in deeply. And as it does, its whole body kind of quivers. As you move a little bit further, you notice there is another smaller stall. And as you first look in there, you don't see anything. And then you see this chain suddenly moves quickly. As you notice, there is this little tiny leash on this creature. The creature is actually medium size, so basically about the size of a human being, but it looks so much smaller based on the large creatures you've just seen. And you can see this little flying reptilian type creature kind of scoots by and just flies over and connects to the wood palisade at the side of its stall and just kind of clutches on there and moves, and you see the chain kind of rattling as it does, as it continues making its way. Then she moves to the first large stall here, and you hear the trumpeting before you see the beast, and you notice that there is an elephant there. And then finally, she takes you to this area where you notice there is another very large-sized stall, and it looks like this stall has been custom fit, like there's a massive pond actually built into this stall, and this stall is probably 40 feet by 40 feet. And as she steps in front of it, you notice she gives a very approving, like proud look on her face as she nods. And as you glance into this big water hole, all you see is a head poking out. And it looks very much reptilian. You can see these sort of spines on its back as this head just kind of is looking out, and you see its tongue reaches out and just grabs onto a big thing of vegetation that has been placed here for it, and just starts crunching on it.
That's it.
She nods. Yes, that is the Bilu.
It's beautiful.
It is indeed, yes. You can only imagine how challenging it is to get such a beast here.
much?
The going rate for this beast is 1,500 gold pieces, plus the cost of training, of course.
How much is training?
It can be done for 250 gold pieces per week. This such beast probably would take 3 weeks, so probably 750 gold pieces approximate.
Who came in with me again? It was Hugo, right?
Hugo
I'm there
and
too.
Dolly.
Hugo.
Yeah. What's up, Grass? You see something you like?
How much gold do we have right now?
I mean, I have a couple hundred on me.
We should buy this beast. The Bilu.
Hello. Hello. That's a big one, huh?
Yes.
How much is it?
She said 1,500 plus 750 for training.
She said approximately, so you get the impression that this would be skill-based. She would train the beast up to follow your instructions, assuming she's successful, which she probably has a fair chance at that. 250 a week. She's saying she thinks she can get it done in 3 weeks, so she's quoting you 750.
And then the flat fee for it was 1,500.
1,500, yep. So altogether, it would be, assuming her training goes well, 2,250. And as you're, kind of just talking with her and probably asking some more generic questions, you'd realize that such a large beast eats a ton of food. And she goes over exactly what the creature eats and how much of a quantity you would need. You would realize to bring this beast around with you, you would pretty much have to dedicate a bag of holding just to hold all of the food it would eat. And that would run you about 40 gold pieces per day in feed.
It doesn't just eat grass nonstop from
It
the fellow.
could. Yeah, it certainly could. If you kept it out somewhere, it is a herbivore, so it eats vegetation. So basically, if you were to think of it as stabling it, if you put it somewhere for a solid 8 hours, it would feed itself, assuming there's vegetation around. But if you were to take it into the Scarlet Citadel for a day, then you have to feed it.
I don't know that it could fit.
Not very many places in there, no.
I'm just imagining, let's say you do buy it, and then we take it all, we get it all the way back to the Scarlet Citadel with us. Imagine using that thing in the actual Citadel with all those stairs and things. Oh my gosh.
Is there a trap it wouldn't set off?
I just keep thinking about how crumbly that floor was around where that big hole is down to the 3rd level. Couldn't even go in that room at all. Be too much of a risk.
I mean, the only way you think it would fit in there would be taking the entrance that takes you right to level 3, which is by the troll area entrance. So it could fit in that way, but yeah, there's going to be many places. So general rules are a beast can move through a space half its size by squeezing. It moves at half speed to do so. So a large creature can actually move through a medium-sized space just by squeezing. But this Bilu is a huge creature, so any passageway that's less than 10 feet wide, it would not be able to fit through.
That's crazy. I do have Dimension Door, and if somebody has Speak to Animals, we can make it willing.
Yeah, I mean, a time-traveling dinosaur fit in there. Not that I'm bitter.
Well, we don't quite have that much money, Grask. Not yet.
I think it would be good for the team.
All right. Well, we'll come back to that one. All right. What about this other guy right here?
And which
So
one is it that you seem to be interested in, Hugo?
The flying one.
And she nods and says, "Oh, yes, that one is, again, an exotic beast. Are you familiar with the amphitheater?"
Yes.
Oh, well, then you will know how capable they are. Quite valuable to have with you.
Oh, why don't you explain it to my friends here? They never listen to me.
You notice she gives you this sort of sly, knowing smile. Oh, well, the amphitheater is frequently referred to as Tiny Wyvern. They have this long stinger at the back, which is quite potent, maybe not as much as you would expect from, say, a true wyvern, but much more compact size. It moves very quickly, so quickly, in fact, that nothing seems to be able to hit it as it flies in, strikes, and flies out. It is able to bite and use its stinger as well. It can be quite effective.
Sounds pretty cool.
Yes, in the wild they are most known for being in flocks, and they tend to strike in heavy numbers, taking down beasts much larger than themselves. But of course, they don't work well as pets in that capacity, so as an individual basis, much more manageable.
And you could train that one to do what we say.
Yes, I could give you specific command words that would mean specific things. You obviously understand that these are beasts, so they are not capable of advanced tactics and things, but the most basics are fairly easy. Fly this way, or strike this individual, those type of things. If you need exact training or exact ability to give it sort of advanced tactical skills, that is also possible, but much more expensive, as it requires a magical item that essentially allows you to communicate and the beast to understand what you're communicating in its own way.
Interesting. You really know your stuff. I've never come in this place before, now I'm regretting it.
And you see she smiles. Everybody does until they've been here once or twice. If you've ever been on the opposite side of one of my beasts, you will understand just how valuable they are.
How much does this one cost? It's not nearly as big as those other ones.
It is true, but it is quite capable in its own way. The amphitheater would cost 1,000 gold pieces, plus training. This beast is a little bit more aggressive, so it would probably take the same 3 weeks to train, even though it is much smaller in size. This would make sure that it is bonded to you, so it would follow the instructions it has been trained to. Typical feed prices for an amphitheater. It is more selective in what it eats. Some meats, but it is very fond of fruits. That generally would cost you about 20 gold pieces per day.
And does it need the fruit, or could it just survive on meat?
It might get a bit angry and less responsive to you if you don't feed it its favorite fruit. It's a little bit needy like that, unfortunately.
I see. Well, thank you for your time. And Hugo will look at the other two and be like, I mean, I can't afford it, but it would be pretty cool to have a flying lizard that stung people.
And you notice she looks between all of you, her eyes kind of moving. If you're looking for more of a budget companion, perhaps I could interest you in the giant boar or the cave bear. They are more reasonably priced at 500 gold, plus training, which would probably be 2 weeks, 1,000 total, plus 10 gold per day in feed.
I've got an idea. How about this, Grask? After you win the tournament, we can take our winnings right back here and buy you whatever little friend you'd like.
I don't want a little friend. I want the Beelu.
Well, you better start earning some coin then, Grask, because we need it to get that thing.
I'll win. I have to.
Alright, we'll be back. Hugo winks at the shopkeeper.
She does this sort of formal bow towards you. I am sure that you will be. And she then quickly turns her attention to some of the other folks here. But you can see she pays them much less interest, as she can tell most of the people here are simply spectators and not seriously interested in looking and purchasing. All right, so Bassane, you've sold a bunch of stuff during this time. I assume you guys would then re-meet out back by the cart, where you would see Sebastian sort of holding down the cart here. And yeah, you guys are rejoined. There's all sorts of shops here, so I know this is a little bit vague, but if there's almost anything you can think of that you're interested in purchasing, you can probably find a shop somewhere in Proudglaive that would sell it.
I think it's best that maybe we get rid of these magical items, or at least get them identified and see if we could sell some of the other things we have. I mean, I've got 40 pounds of potion components. I'm sure going to an alchemist we could get the most out of those. And then we have some of those potions as well, like diminution. We've got that experimental potion that probably could fetch a good price. It just depends on what we want to sell.
And Jolly wants to sell the fish that she got.
Yeah, let's start with the magic shop, I think, right? We'll get our stuff identified, or whoever can identify stuff.
If we wait too long, this fish is going to go bad, too.
Well, okay, let's do fish first, right? Magic shop with, I think that's probably the best place if Hugo thinks they use it for ingredients, so then let's take it there. And then we can also pay them to identify these objects we have, maybe.
Or at the very least, they'll know who can identify it for us, probably.
Let's go.
Right.
So you're looking for a magic shop, essentially, right?
Yep.
And you notice, and you'd probably know this, Hugo, that magic shops in Proudglaive, there's more than one, and each one sort of specializes in different things. Are you looking for essentially a general magic shop, or something more specific like an alchemist or like an armorer or something like that?
I would say whoever deals in components or someone that would be able to use the fish is his main goal.
You think an alchemist would probably be your best bet for something like that?
Okay, so yeah, he'll steer us towards the alchemist shop.
Okay, so Sebastian once again agrees to just watch the cart here as you guys make your way through Proudglaive. You eventually come to a road which you recognize as Ridge Row. It's near one of the major crossroads here. You can see it adjacent to this location is a tavern, which you can see a sign out front that says The Witch and Pipe. And next to that tavern, there is this very colorful sign showing bottles and a bunch of greenery. There's actually, think of this almost as like a hedge that is growing on the roof of the shop. And you see a sign that says, Dredder's Mystical Apothecary.
This guy will buy that fish, I guarantee it.
Maybe we could load off these potion components as well.
Yeah, and he can tell us what the potions are worth, too.
Alright, let's go in.
Alright, you guys make your way into this single-story shop. You can see as you enter, you're almost immediately assaulted by these strange fragrances. Think almost like a Bath and Body Works shop, right? But more exotic scents and things suddenly just hit you as you enter. And you notice standing up on this stool is a halfling man, and he's reaching up. And you see he turns back and looks towards you and he says, do you have the oil? Did you bring the oil? Come on now, you can hear me, right? You.
Oh, us. No, I think you have us mistaken. But, does anybody have any oil?
Yeah, I have oil. Do you need oil?
And you see he kind of looks at you, adjusts his spectacles on his nose. Oh, I thought you were the delivery people. You're just customers then. My apologies. Customers. Oh, great. You see he looks back, starts reaching up once again, pulls out this small box, looks towards it, looks back to it. Oh, right, customers. What can I get you? What do you need? What are you interested in?
Actually, we have a few things that we would like to sell or potentially sell. we've came across a large component, or I guess you could say box of components for different potions. We have no use for them. And then we also caught a void salmon, and we heard you guys use them for all sorts of things.
Oh,
Fresh
I
caught yesterday.
Caught? What? That doesn't even make sense. Where did you catch it?
We camped outside the city. She caught it in the river there.
There's no void salmon in the waters this close to the city.
I'll pull it out of the bag. I'll just...
As you can see, it's clearly not even 24 hours old.
And it's smashed brains all over with the crowbar bits in his face. But yeah, as you hold it up and he looks towards you, he's, yeah, bring it closer. Bring it, set it here. And you see he rolls out this like cloth to cover the countertop.
I'll bring it over, and then I'll also pull the crate of the components from the bag of holding as well.
He inspects the fish very carefully, ignoring whatever else it is you placed here. And you see him he keeps looking up at you and then looking back down. Then he flips the fish over and then looks back up at you, looks back down. Eventually you see he takes one of these little jars that has like dust in it, and he uses these forceps to pull out just a couple of the dust crystals, and he places it on the tail, and then you see he takes his finger and kind of rubs it in, and you notice he looks down. I guess this is a void salmon. Yeah, interesting. Okay.
And as you can see, extremely fresh.
Yes, that's a shock. I did not even know there were void salmon in these waters. It's got to be a very rare catch, very rare indeed. But yes, you're wanting to sell this, right?
Yes, and these components here. And we also have a few potions that, well, this one is, that was a mad scientist, I guess you could say. I don't know, she was crazy, but she had this vial of, here, check it out. And I'll show them the experimental potion of invulnerability.
You notice as you're explaining this to him, he's still like seemingly absorbed looking at the fish. Let's do one thing at a time. I'm not good with big numbers and switcheroos. So the fish. How about I give you 250 gold pieces for it?
You know, when it's this fresh, you know, the price is a little bit higher because the quality can't be beat. It didn't travel all the way from.
And may I also mention, you said it yourself, it's a very rare fish to catch this far out, and you'll have the rarest sample around. So perhaps 400 gold pieces.
So Jolly, go ahead and give me a persuasion check, so blind check. And Jolly, do you happen to be proficient in persuasion?
Yes, I do.
And Bassine, I'm pretty sure you are as well, right?
I am not proficient in it, no.
Okay, so Jolly will make the check then. I was going to give, obviously, advantage if you guys are both proficient. But, yeah, Jolly, go ahead and give that blind check, please.
Can I do so without clicking a token?
You can drag a token just on the map anywhere and then use that to click. So if, in case you forgot how to do that, just go to the character sheet section or the handout section, and you'll find the folder called Player Characters. Just find the one with your name on it. Put your cursor on your character's name, left click, hold that down, drag it over to the map, and let go. There you go. Okay, so as you make your case here, Jolly, you notice he's kind of doing this, nah, and he keeps looking down at the fish. Well, it's true, it is rare fish, that's why it's worth the 250 gold. It is fresh, but, you know, when I have to get these, I get them fresh, they're just not this close. So, you know, they're packed up well, and then sometimes I have to pay more for the packaging and the transport, but you caught it right outside the city, like you said, so it's not like you had transportation fees. I think 250 gold is more than fair.
I just think you can do better than that.
Well, okay, but now that you've had a chance to give us that price, but before we say yes on anything, well, what about if you check some of the other things we have here and see if maybe we can do like a bundle?
Oh, sure, but bundles usually make the price go down, but yeah, okay.
Well, yeah, but that's why, you know, because we understand the rareness of this fish, as do you. I don't want my friend to feel slighted for the 250, and then that way we're all happy. So, look, here's this little vial here. What do you think this is?
I'd have to test it. Hang on. And you see he takes the vial from you, assuming you're letting him take it.
Yeah.
All right, you'll notice he steps back, he grabs this glass eyedropper, and he just puts it into the vial and takes out just a single drop. He places it down on essentially like a slide stain, and then you see he takes a magnifying glass and he's looking very close at it, and just kind of looking, and he takes this little bit of powder then, and just puts a dash on it on the slide as well, and kind of does a few more of these kind of ritualistic type deals, and then he comes back and he says, well, it looks like this one it was made, but it's flawed, so not as worth as much as it would be if it wasn't flawed.
Okay. And the components here? There's a lot of them. I'm sorry. Yeah.
He starts looking through all of these things, and most of them you see him, meh. And you're looking through them, then you see like he picks something up and goes, and puts it back down, and keeps looking, and eventually, Justice Spectacles once again. Yes, there is quite a bit here. Well, I could give you, say, well, you wanted to bundle, so how about the fish and that potion and all the components, and say I give you 1,000 gold pieces.
I'll just give a quick look over my shoulder for any disapproval nods from anybody.
Yeah, you get one from Hugo.
Jolly's like investigating the shop.
Listen, we both know that the fish is worth more than what you're giving us. Now, there's other places that will buy it, all around us.
Hugo, you can make a persuasion check, but unfortunately at disadvantage since it's already been attempted once on the shopkeeper. That'll be a blind check. You see he looks towards you and, well, if you want to take it somewhere else, then go ahead, because, I don't make money on this. I'll have to find a buyer for it myself. That takes time and effort, so it's not really worth more than $250, sorry.
Oh, look, we don't want to... Well, we've been lugging this stuff around for quite a while now, so look, 1,000 gold, we'll take it. I think it's fair, I suppose, and the potion is... considered flawed, so...
Wait. We might want to keep that potion for Grass, though, for that fight.
Oh, Grass, do you want it? He said it's flawed, so it may have something that kicks back on you.
Which one was flawed?
It's the invulnerability potion. You get, tired after it or something.
I was thinking you could just drink that potion of growth. You'd just be massive.
How much do
smiles.
you want to... Oh, sorry. Go for it, guys.
He smiles at that. He goes,
Forever.
I mean, we have 2 potions of growth, so at least for 2 hours.
Oh, not forever then.
No, but I think I might be able to learn that spell. Something close to it. If you like it, at least.
Looks up and adjusts his spectacles again. You want to be bigger forever? I can do that. It's kind of pricey, but I can do it.
Oh.
Yes.
Whoa.
So what is the cost of doing something like that?
Well, first, let me make sure that you understand that there's a disclaimer here. When we say forever, this is a magic effect, which means it's permanent, but it can be dispelled. You know how that works, right?
Yes, well, familiar.
Okay, so there's 2 varieties of this. There's one that makes you just a little bit bigger, and you hit a little bit, harder, and that's kind of it. And then there's one that makes you quite a bit bigger, like you actually get a bigger size, and you can reach farther, and yeah.
Does that make you hit harder as well? The one that increases your size?
Yeah, the normal one, like I said, it makes you bigger, and it's truly bigger, but it doesn't give you any more reach. You just get bigger. The second one gives you that extra reach too, because you're bigger. Because you actually get like bigger.
Well, why don't you give us some prices so we know what we're talking about here?
Well, for the first one, this would be. You see, he starts doing this like math in his head. I could sell it to you for 2,000 gold pieces. The bigger one would be 4,000. So mechanically, essentially what he's telling you here, the first one is Enlarge Spell. And if you remember, the large spell doubles in all dimensions, so you move one size category up from medium to large. And it says until the spell ends, target has advantage on strength checks and strength saving throws. Target's weapons also grow to match its new size. When they're enlarged, target attacks deal 1d4 extra damage. But there's no additional reach here, so you still only reach within 5 feet of you. The 4,000 gold one would also set you to large size, but would actually increase your reach from 5 feet to 10 feet.
And these are not just spells that he would cast and then would wear off.
These
an
are,
hour after.
From what he's telling you, so assuming you trust him, these are permanent spells. So their duration is permanent, but they could be dispelled. So if you entered an area, say an anti-magic area, it would fade off immediately. If somebody cast a spell magic on you, it would end immediately. So there's no duration, but they can be ended.
I never knew gold could buy so much.
Yes, there's a lot you can do with it. Well, look, we don't have that kind of gold straight out on us right now, but with the things we have to trade, I'm sure we can get close. You know, we have a few potions of growth and things like that. Do you think about a trade?
Maybe, but potions of growth are not really worth that much, because they don't last very long. But if you, all the stuff you put on the table, plus your potions of growth, you said you got 2 of those?
Yes, and a potion of diminution.
Okay, plus that, and then, say 500 gold, and then I can give you the 2,000 gold variety.
We could use that credit slip we have, and that would make it affordable, but it's up to you guys. I mean...
I'm willing to chip in to make Grass' dream come true.
That sounds cool, for sure, and he'd hit harder and be bigger. It definitely would work in our favor.
Honestly, I hesitate whether this is the best use of that amount of money, but I'll go with the group.
I mean, to be fair, we could get that big creature for that much as well.
Yes, but they each come with their own risk, right? The creature may die. Grass may get hit by some magical dispelment.
If the growth was dispelled, I could just come back here and they'd do it again.
That's right, just 2,000 more gold would do it again.
Sounds like you kind of want to do it, Grask. What do you think?
What do you mean again? I'd already paid you.
He's saying for each time that you would need the service, you would have to pay him to complete it. But the fee is not based off of the actual service, although I'm sure he charges for his time. It's primarily for the ingredients that it would cost to make it happen.
That's right, he says as he's shaking his spectacles.
Jolly walks over to Grask and gives him a little scratch under the chin and says, Grask, I think you're big and strong just the way you are, buddy.
Of course. But who wouldn't want to be bigger and stronger?
As long as you can fit in those corridors under the Scarlet Citadel.
Adam, would Hugo know about any, do they have mass dispel magic things going on in Proudglaive anywhere?
I mean, not regularly, no. But Dispel Magic, you would know, obviously that's a 3rd level spell, so while most spellcasters would not have that, it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility the higher, if you're worried about Progglaive specifically, I would say very low risk. If you tried to like break into the city's bank or something, then you might run into an area like that. But assuming you're not going anywhere you're not supposed to, you don't think you'd have to worry about some dispel effect on an area.
Okay. I think we should do it. And I mean, Gresk, you want to be big, right? You want to be bigger.
Yes.
I say we do it.
Grask, here, let's put it this way. Would you be willing to pay out of your pocket for the remainder? With the credit slip, it'd be like 72 gold. Would you be able to pay that?
I don't know.
I know you don't have pockets. Where do you put your loose change?
In here.
And he opens up a pouch and you can see him shifting around some rations, and you can see gold pieces in there, and he starts to fish them out.
That's not sanitary. I heard 1 in every 3 gold pieces has some kind of narcotic on it.
Aren't those expensive?
Yes, that's why they use gold coins.
And I get it for free. I have over 100 gold.
Well, I'm for it. It does not bother me. It clears up some space in the bag of holding. Not that it affects its weight, but still.
Do you know?
I'm addressing the shopkeep.
Would they let me be huge for the tournament?
And you see he looks you up and down, adjusts his spectacles once again. You're not going to be in the tournament. Come on. That's not for people like you.
I'm in the real tournament.
Yeah, the real tournament. Of course, I know. The melee, the archery, the joust. You're not going to get in there.
And he just smiles a knowing smile.
Oh, Grask, for the tournament that we're going to get into, yeah, I think you'll be okay.
We're going to need to get a bigger cloak for Grask here, so it doesn't stick out quite so much, even though it'll be huge.
Yeah, well...
Well, think about it.
Okay, just keep in mind, once you decide this, it does take a little bit of time to brew such a potent potion, so probably like a day or so. So when you're ready, you'll need like a day.
All right.
So, do we just want to do the trade with the potions then?
How much for just the fish and the alchemical supplies?
You notice he adjusts his spectacles once again. Oh, I see how it is. So first we start with ones and we say, no, we want to do all this as a big group. Now you want to know individuals. Well, a fish was $2.50, like I said. And what was the other thing you wanted to sell?
All
The
these
components.
supplies.
Well, how about $7.50?
I personally know that, I've been carrying these supplies around for a while. Yes, some of them are mangled and unusable, but some of them are quite rare, as I saw when you were inspecting them. What if we did an even 800 instead?
Okay, deal.
That works for me. Okay.
And remember our kindness in the future in our next dealing, alright?
He looks up at you with a little bit of a smile on his face and gives you a nod as he takes this. So this was the potion components, right? So this was was this the potion components, or was this the book, scrolls, and notes from the small library?
This was the components.
Okay, so he takes all of that off of you guys, places it underneath his, underneath the counter here, and collects all of this stuff from. So basically, everything you've agreed to sell, he takes all of that, and then you see he writes you out a credit slip for 800 gold pieces. Does a stamp on it that is stamped with the Bank of Proudglaive here. Does a signature on it. Basically makes it all official, and then he slides it over to you. So this was 40 pounds worth of alchemical components.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, all right. So we are near the end of our session time. Is that all your business here with the alchemist?
Yep, I think the next thing on our list that we wanted to do, and change me if I'm wrong, guys, but was to go and get our magic stuff identified.
Wait. Let's go see the Pilu again.
Well, Grass, we gotta do some other stuff. Alright? Then we go back to see the Pilu after we take care of this other stuff, alright?
Alright.
Like a kid at the zoo. I love it. All right, so guys, as you exit the alchemist shop here, make your way out. I would say, Hugo, you for sure are left with this feeling that you got a lot less value than what you think you should have for those. And just based on his demeanor and how he interacted with you, you feel like that was probably worth a lot more than what he just gave you for it. But you did get rid of the 40 pounds here, so it's not taking up space any longer. And you did get a pretty good chunk of change, so maybe mixed feelings. But if that part of you that wants to make sure you're always getting the proper value for things, that's probably sticking in your craw, as it might be said. But yeah, we will go ahead and end our session here, guys, with when we pick up next week. The expectation is you will be looking to get some things identified and then still have another day or so here in the city before the official and unofficial tournament occurs. So if there's anything else that you would like to do that's going to require any kind of planning, just give me a heads up in Discord sometime in the next couple of days, and I will make sure that is prepped for you guys next week.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
Good game, everybody.
Yeah, good sesh.
Good
Love
session,
a
yep. Have a good
PE
night, everyone.
shopping episode.
Absolutely, yep. Have a good night, everyone.
Night, guys. Great session.